Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Irish Breakdown Podcast. Happy Wednesday. It's July 30th, which means a couple of different things. First and foremost, as you guys know, it's buy, sell, hold. But before we get to buy, sell, hold, I would say at about a little over 24 hours from now, we're going to be sitting back down in these chairs talking about Notre Dame's first fall camp practice. We're finally here. We are finally here. And if you guys are anything like Brian and I know you guys are just as stoked as we are. So what we're going to do today to kick off today's show is we are going to be previewing fall camp. Now, this is not meant to be an in-depth dive into every single facet of what we're going to be looking for into fall camp, but we're more setting the stage for what's going to be happening between now and really the next couple of weeks here. And I couldn't be more excited to dive into it today.
Yeah, it's like a what to look for type of thing. What are the things that we're hoping to learn? Not so much a questions thing. We kind of did that yesterday. But just more, and this is also more fall camp focused. This is not like a preview of the season. This is more just looking at fall camp. And I think that's the part that's going to be fun and just kind of looking at it, Trev. And then, of course, as you mentioned, we're going to do buy, sell, hold after that. So we'll get those rocking and rolling. But I think when the biggest thing is obviously fall camp starts tomorrow. We're super fired up about it. And the first thing that I always love talking about, Trevor, is position battles. That's always kind of, to me, like that's usually the most fun thing about fall camp. I got to say, like in this modern era of college football, or at least for Notre Dame, those don't have the same kind of, fire outside of quarterback and offensive line, because at every other position, it's like, well, whoever doesn't win the starting safety job is still going to play a bunch. Whoever's not starting at will linebacker is still going to play a bunch. And honestly, some of the more intriguing position battles are going to be for the number 2 spots at certain places. But obviously, Trev, when you talk about fall camp, it starts with quarterback. And that's the number 1 position battle that is going to have the biggest impact on the team. It's the one that everybody's, wants to talk about. And it's the biggest thing we're going to learn out of fall camp. Is I don't know that there's anything else we could learn out of fall camp more important than, okay, who's going to be the starting quarterback? So obviously that's at the very top of the list from both a position battle standpoint, but then also what are we looking for is how are the quarterbacks going to look? Is it going to be a scenario where 2 guys are just duking it out, playing great, giving you their best effort, and you got to figure out which one of these dudes you want to go with? And I mean dudes as in, like impact players you want to go with. Does the loser play so well that he forces you to find a role for him some way, somehow? Or is it where they both kind of struggle and you kind of just got to pick which one of the struggling quarterbacks you want to go with? Or is it somewhere in between? Is it one guy plays great, one guy doesn't? I don't know the answer to that, and I'm looking forward to finding out the answer. And I'd say no later than a month from today, we'll have a pretty good idea who the quarterback is. I have a feeling we're going to find out sooner, but even if we find out sooner, why are we finding out sooner? Is it because one guy's not playing well, the other guy's playing great? It's really going to be a fascinating, and it's going to obviously drive a lot of the conversation that we're going to have in fall camp.
I'm just happy we're getting to the point where we can start putting the speculation behind us of, this is what we could see in fall camp, and we hope to see this from CJ Carr, and we hope to see this from Kenny Minchie. Tomorrow morning, we finally get to start to put that to rest a little bit, and we can talk about what we are seeing. And we've really spent the last 3 months going over all of the position battles. Obviously, quarterback, to your point, is going to take the share of that, but there's a lot of exciting things that I'm looking forward to seeing tomorrow. Tomorrow we kind of get the first idea of what a potential starting lineup can look like for this group on offense and defense.
Yeah.
The first time we've seen Ashton Craig since the Purdue game. It's the first time we've seen Boubacar Traore since the Louisville game. So not just speculation with the quarterback position, Brian, but it's what are we going to see from some of these guys coming back from injury? We finally get to see Malachi Fields in a blue and gold uniform, Ty Washington in a blue and gold uniform. We get to see Jalen Stroman out running around with the guys. So there's a lot of exciting things that are going to be going on. But yes, to your point, the quarterback position will take, rightfully so, a lot of the attention for what's been going on throughout the offseason so far.
No, it's good. I mean, I think there's also a receiver battle that's going to happen this spring, and that's going to look a couple different ways. You know, who starts? We feel pretty good that Jaden Greathouse is going to be a starter. We feel pretty good that Malachi Fields is going to be a starter. But who's that third guy? Is it going to be Jordan Faison? Is it going to be Will Pauling? If it's Will Pauling, does that mean Jaden Greathouse moves outside? Does Will Pauling stay in the slot? Does Will Pauling move more outside predominantly? Does that make Jordan Faison the swing guy that plays inside and out? Does Jordan Faison stay the starter and Will Pauling is the swing guy that plays inside and out? I think that's going to be another very underrated part. And it's not just about who starts, Trev, but the battle also is going to determine what is the reps distribution going to look like at that position. And then, of course, after those four, does Micah Gilbert force his way into the rotation? Does KK Smith? Does Cam Williams? I think the receiver battle is going to be really interesting behind, Fields and Greathouse. What does it look like after that? That's going to be a really interesting part of fall camp.
Yeah, absolutely. The pecking order at the wide receiver position will be really, really interesting, especially after you mentioned the first top four guys. And there's a lot of projection of who it makes sense to be. Micah Gilbert to be the number 2 guy in the boundary position, because as much as we love Malachi Fields and as excited as we are to watch him line up on Saturdays, it's also unrealistic that he plays 900 snaps this season. So does Micah Gilbert take that next step? What do we see from Cam Williams and KK Smith? And I'm excited to watch all of that. And I know we're going to dive into it a little bit more, but that's not the only position that we're going to talk about ironing out.
But also with the receiver thing too, Trev, just before we move on to the next one is, does if there's not someone to kind of step up and say, hey, Micah Gilbert doesn't step up or Cam Williams doesn't step up, then are you forced to do more 12 personnel as your way to give Malachi Fields a breather? Mm-hmm. And then maybe you go with a Greathouse and somebody, or maybe you could even go like fast outside, big inside, and put Faison and Pauling outside. So I think all those are going to be very interesting aspects of it. And then of course right guard.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Sullivan Absher, I had an intel piece about him being the guy that's going to get that first crack at it. But in that intel piece also won't get specifics, but there's a couple other guys that are going to battle for that job as well, including one really talented young player that, does Sully just kind of handle it? Does he step up and play well? Does somebody force their way into that spot? Like, that's going to be another interesting part. And then how quickly can that line come together? Because if you think about it, the anticipated starting offensive line without Jagasol and with Jagasol has never played a snap together in their current alignments. So we're going to, first day of fall camp, when we see that first team offensive line with whatever it is, and we expect it to be Knapp, Schrouth, Craig, Absher, and Wagner left to right. But it's, okay, how are they going to look? How quickly can they come together? And I expect them to come together pretty quickly, because for the most part, we've seen all those guys together. I mean, we saw 4 of those 5 play 2.5 games together. Well, 3 of those 5. No, actually, it'd be 4 because Schrouth is a right guard. But we saw 4 of those 5 guys play 2.5 games together. Now Schrouth's on the other side. Absher's in there. But I think they're going to come together quickly, but that's a big part of it. And then, of course, Trevor, how's the D-tackle rotation going to shake out? There's like 6-7 guys battling for that. I don't think you can go deeper than 4 or 5. That's going to be another really interesting fall camp battle.
Yeah, the defensive tackle position is one from top to bottom. We kind of don't know what the pecking order is going to be when you look at the overall depth chart. Wide receiver, we talked about, you have Jaden Greathouse. You have Malachi Fields at safety. You have Adon Schuler. Linebacker, you have Drake Bowen. At the defensive tackle position, it could look any number of ways. The starters on the first team could rotate out. It could be Onye and Rubio. It could be Heinisch and Onye. It could be Heinisch and Rubio. It could be Dawson and Heinisch. Who knows? And so the pecking order from top to bottom is going to be really interesting. At the top, who kind of rolls out there with the first team defense, taking reps consistently over fall camp. because you can't put too much weight into what you just see on the very first day. I know that as well. But also, what youngster starts to push? What does Elijah Hughes do? What does Armel Mukum do to kind of put his name in the rotation there? Where does Donnie Heinisch fall in that? What does his role become now that he got a lot of meaningful minutes last year, including in the postseason? So the defensive tackle rotation is going to be one that's very interesting. Do they start to use certain type of odd front looks? Do they utilize, the rotation based on skill set, situation, down and distance? And so I'm going to be really interested to see how they handle that tomorrow as well.
Yeah, it is going to be fascinating. The will linebacker battle is also going to be another really intriguing one. And to a degree, it doesn't matter a ton because all the guys in it are going to play. But I also think it does kind of matter because if Kingston Viliama-Asa, for example, somehow ends up as a starting will, that means he took a big jump this fall camp. And I've said before, y'all know that I absolutely love Jaden Osbury as a player. Love Jaden Osbury as a player. There is nobody higher on Jaden Osbury as a player than maybe his parents, than me. And Jalen Sneed has shown his worth as a player. But I still will say 34 and 27 on the field together is something that gets me real fired up. Real fired up.
Yeah.
And, does Kingston's performance warrant that? Or do they view it as like, yeah, he's our next best guy, but because we need to play him at both spots, we're going to start someone else there and then kind of work him in? It's going to be fascinating to see how that goes. It really is, because it's a really talented group of players and they're all going to play.
Yeah.
But I do think the order matters. Do they look at it and say, we got 5-6 linebackers that are just dudes? When you count those four, plus you look at a Bodie Cahoon maybe forcing his way on the field, maybe a Teddy Rizak forcing his way on the field, maybe a Madden Faremo. Do they say, we got to figure out some things where we can put 3 linebackers in the field? We saw them doing a little bit of odd fronts in spring practice. Is that kind of part of it where they're going to say, we're going to go 3-3-5 at times against certain teams because this allows us to get more athletes on the field?
Yeah.
Those are all things that I think are going to be largely determined by the last 2 positions that we talked about, D tackle and linebacker. Just gives you, not as the base defense, but just as a look against certain teams, so you can get 3 guys in the field and maybe match up a little bit better against a team that wants to throw the ball over the field, for example. I think those are all fascinating aspects of fall camp. And then, of course, Trev, I think the biggest one, the biggest unknown on defense is who's going to win that starting battle at safety. And then beyond that, this is what makes it so intriguing is, okay, once we have a starter determined, we still got to figure out who's 3 and who's 4. I think safety is going to be a very interesting part of fall camp.
Yeah, I think the safety position, battling out the pecking order there, is going to be the second most competitive battle out behind quarterbacks. The dynamic of Jalen Stroman missing the spring, combined with Luke Talich and Bronte Johnson and Jadon Blair really elevating their level of play over the course of the spring, I think makes this for a really, really interesting conversation. We've talked about it a lot, and it's, we're expecting them to rotate more because you're not going to have somebody like Xavier Watts on your defense with all that experience to be eating up. What'd you say, like 91% of the defensive snaps last year he was on the field? I don't know if you're going to see a safety like that, even in a case with a Don Schuler who returns. So that's another aspect of this conversation of, we always talk about a Don Schuler is going to be on the field basically most of the time, and who else rotates in with him? Do they play some sort of game where it's, hey, they also are rotating and swapping out a Don Schuler given the look? And that's another interesting aspect to this. And it kind of opens up this 5-man potential safety rotation that you have. And instead of rotating 4 guys at one spot, does that get divvied up amongst the rest of the back end of the defense? I think that's another interesting aspect to this too. But man, that safety battle is going to be fun to watch over the course of fall camp.
It is, and it's going to be an important one too, Trev. Like a lot of these, like the linebacker battle, I don't know how important it is from the standpoint of, answering a question that we might have, or, gee, I don't know if this is going to be a strength or not. I think the D tackle and the linebacker battle especially are more so, we know these 4 guys are going to play. The question is, what's the the reps of split, the split reps and balance there, who starts, who doesn't, who does this, who does that. But we know they're all going to play. There is a somewhat of a degree of a battle at D tackle. I mean, but we know Rubio's going to play. We know Onye's going to play. We know Heinisch is going to play. We know Jared Dawson's going to play. Then it's okay. Does Armo Mukum force himself into the rotation? Does Davion Dixon? Does Elijah Hughes? Does Sean Savillano? Like that's more of the question. Like, but we know 4 of the guys are going to play.
Yeah.
At safety, I think there's a greater question about that. I don't know that everybody in the mix is necessarily going to play a bunch. It could be a thing where only 3 safeties play a lot this year. They may feel like, hey, we just can't get a 4th into the mix. Maybe they do get a 4th. Do they get a 5th? I think that we know that there's going to be 3. That's just because that's what Mike Mickens wants to do. He at least wants to play 3. But how much deeper do they go beyond that? I mean, that is probably, of all the things we've talked about on defense, that's, in my opinion, the greatest unknown. And I shouldn't even say unknown, because we know who's in the battle. That's the greatest uncertainty of being able to predict, oh, yeah, that guy's going to play, but that guy's going to play. But I don't think it's a given that all those guys are going to play. And there's some very talented players in the mix. I mean, you're talking about Luke Tallich. You're talking about Jalen Stroman. We're talking about Bronte Johnson. We're talking about, Jadon Blair. That's 4 guys for maybe 2-3 spots. I don't know that you can play all 5. And that's what's going to make this a really, really fun battle. And then does the safety play put you in a situation as a defensive staff where you say, hey, we got to figure out a way to get 3 of these guys in the field together? We saw that at times last year. Do we see that more this year or not? So I think that's going to be another fascinating aspect of it, Trev. And then I think place kicker is another one that's going to be, can Noah Burnett improve upon what he did in the spring? Can Eric Schmidt make this a battle? I'm very curious to see that one as well. And then I think that there's 2 that we talked about, quarterback and receiver, a bunch. I think one of the things I'm looking for in fall camp is how quickly does CJ Carr and Kenny Minchie get on the same page with the wideouts, especially the transfers? Because we didn't see 100% Will Pauling in the spring, and we didn't see any of Malachi Fields. How quickly do they get comfortable with him? I think it's something I'm going to be very interested to see. Unfortunately, some of that we won't know, but it's important for the team to figure out. We may not get that answer because the only full practice we're going to see is tomorrow. And unless something changes, we're probably not going to see any more 7-on-7, any more team from now until Miami, just because of the lack of availability. So we may not get to see that, but not all this is just what we're looking for to see with our own eyes. But these are things that are going to happen in fall camp. And I think getting those guys on the same page is going to be a really important piece to this. It's going to be fun to see how that goes and important.
Yeah.
Like we talk about Malachi Fields all we want, but what if the quarterbacks never get comfortable throwing to him, or they don't get on the same page until week 5? That could be impactful early in the season.
Another thing I'm keeping my eye out on as well is the pecking order behind Eli Raritan at tight end. What does that start to look like? He's the solidified, barring injury, the number 1 guy that's going to trot out there with the first team. I think we can all agree on that. But then afterwards, it's like, okay, you got a 6-year senior that's pretty banged up with Kevin Bauman. You have a redshirt freshman in Jack Larson who has shown flashes, but over fall camp, can you put together a consistent level of play? You have a kid in Ty Washington who came over, didn't finish last season, but in the moments where he was a focal point of the Arkansas passing attack, he was very effective. James Flanagan is a true freshman. He's coming onto the scene, and it's been talked about how he's going to see some time. We've speculated a lot about how much, not if. And so I think it's going to be really interesting over the course of fall camp to see how they utilize the depth in that room, because it is a point to where it is an unknown. And I'm not putting it up there with quarterback or the safety rotation or anything like that, but it is something that I'm going to be keeping my eye out on. 1, you guys know how much I love the tight end room. But 2, it is interesting with how much Notre Dame runs 12 personnel and how they've utilized tight ends really since my fandom has begun, but really in more so recent years, how many tight ends that they would rotate in. I'm going to be interested to see how that plays out over fall camp as well.
Yeah, it is. Last couple things for me, Trev. I'm very curious to see how what does fall camp Chris Ash look different than spring practice Chris Ash? And that's not a good or a bad thing. That's just an observation, because in the spring you're focusing on certain things and your urgency as a coach isn't necessarily as great because you don't have a game that you're getting ready for. When you're a first-time coordinator, hey, I'm just trying to teach these guys what my expectations are. I'm just trying to teach these guys the basics of how we go through practice. I'm trying to teach them of how we communicate, signals, maybe some scheme differences, some adjustments technically, fundamentally, just some different things like that. And there's no need to just pound them into submission in spring practice because you're trying to lay a foundation. Well, now you get into fall camp, there's a greater urgency because you have a game in a month. And that's a little bit more high pressure than the blue gold game. You know what I mean? So it can require different emphasis from your coaches or your coordinator. I'm curious to see how Chris Ash looks in a fall camp setting. I loved how he was so focused on teaching in the spring. And that was one of the things that has me feeling optimistic and positive about, what we've seen from him so far. Now we're in fall camp. How do you build on that while also saying, hey, it's game one, it's practice one, but this is all building towards getting ready to go out and win our next football game. And so I'm very curious to see how that part of it goes. And then how do they take to it?
Yeah.
Now that we've got the spring under our belt, they've got, post spring, so like that May period at the end of the school year, you've got the summer workouts. What do we start to see with some of these different looks and alignments? What are we going to see more from a coverage structure standpoint? I think those things are very important and are all parts of one of the more interesting aspects of fall camp. And so I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing how this whole thing plays out. So I think that's going to be an interesting piece. And then finally, the D-line's been pretty banged up the last year. How does it look?
Yep.
How's Bryce Young looking with his big off season? Is Gabriel Rubio going to finally be healthy? How's Boubacar look? How's he moving around? How much work does he get the first couple of days of practice? Those are all things that I just find fascinating, that I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that plays out, because D-line is going to be a big part of what this team is. And I put a D-end intel piece out yesterday. I put my D-tackle one out today. A lot of interesting stuff in there, in my opinion. And I want to see how much of it, like, okay, yeah, this intel I got, I'm seeing it.
Yep.
Oh, this guy's explosive. All right, he looks the same to me, or, okay, yep, that tracks. He does look better. I think it's going to be a fascinating part as well.
Yeah, agreed. The last thing that I'm going to be keeping my eye out on is not so the performance of the running back room, but how they're used. This is kind of our first time getting to see Juwan Sider with the entire running back room at his disposal. I understand kind of limiting what Jeremiah Love did in spring practices, because how much do you need to see from him in the spring? I understand that. But I do expect the workload for him to start to get ramped up. We've talked a lot about the utilization in the passing game. What does that start to look like? What do the rotations start to look like? We've speculated a lot on, Kedron Young could be the short down guy, but Aeneas could still be the third down guy. Where does Jabron Payne fit into that mix? Do we see Jeremiah Love lined up at other positions in the offense, not just, 7 yards deep or, offset from the quarterback? So I'll also be paying attention to that as well. That's going to be something that I'm very curious to see how Coach Sider manages that, opposed to what Coach McCullough did.
That's going to be very interesting. And I don't know how much of that we're going to get to see, unfortunately, between now and fall camp. But that's going to be a very interesting part to this whole thing is we know that Juwan Sider can coach a really awesome 1-2 punch, but can he coach 3, 4, 5 guys?
Yep.
That's a different question. Mm-hmm. Will he have a similar view of, like, I understand what he's saying, but I also am on board with what Dylan McCullough said. And I wasn't at first. I was like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Dylan McCullough was like, I got 8 different starting positions. And the reason he looked at it is because just because so-and-so is our best player overall doesn't mean he's our best pass blocker. Mm-hmm. Or it doesn't mean he's our best short yardage back, or it doesn't mean he's our best 2-minute back. You could be a monster as a handoff guy, right? Audric Estime, monster as a handoff guy. I'm not putting him in the game in 2 minute when you necessarily need to throw every down. Now, 2 minute, it worked out against Duke in 2023. He ripped off that big run, but that was a little bit of a different situation. I want a guy that maybe brings more pass pro ability. I want a guy that maybe brings more, if I check it down to him, he can go make a big play with it, which we saw. I think, wasn't it, I forget, I thought there was a running back. Was it Audric that caught a pass on that drive? I can't remember. But that's kind of the different aspects that I'm looking for too, is I get that from Dylan McCullough. And I didn't think that I was like, I don't know that I like that. But then you're like, dude, that makes sense. Because when you're in these certain situations, you want your best guy in that situation on the field. Does he just kind of go old school running back and just say, well, this is my one, so he's going to be my one at everything? I don't know that that's always the best strategy. And I want to see if that's how it plays out. And then the final piece for me, as we get ready to talk about, before we move on to buy so hold, overall, one of the most fun things of fall camp is just how the guys look. Just like physically, how do they look? Like, okay, man, Lauren Landau's emphasizing this. He's doing that. He's getting them rolling with that. I think those are all very intriguing aspects of it. And the other thing is, where does this team look injury-wise from now until August 30th? When we get to like that Saturday before game one, are we kind of where we are now? Somebody's going to get hurt in fall camp. Is it a third stringer, fourth stringer, second stringer, first stringer, star player? Who knows? So I want to see kind of how those things kind of pan out, and how, like, yes, I love the things that I'm hearing about explosiveness and speed and all these type of things from Lauren Landau, but a big part of a strength and conditioning program is, can you keep your players healthy? And that's something that I want to kind of see play out. So all very intriguing parts of fall camp. Anything else, Trev, before we roll on to the buy so hole? We're going to have Vince join us here in a minute, as long as he's ready to rock and roll. But anything else before we get started? This is going to be your first fall camp too, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that you're going to be there for a bunch of it. So
yep.
Were you at any of the practices last fall?
Nope.
Okay, so this is going to be your first fall camp, so that's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's when you sent me this outline, it's like, what are you looking forward to the most? And the first bullet point that I wrote was being there. And I was like, I probably can't just put that as the top thing, but I'm excited to see it.
That's relevant to you. I don't know that that's as important to our audience as it is to you, but I get it. I totally get it, dude. I understand. No, it's going to be fun. It's going to be me and Vince. You and I are going to be there tomorrow. Just a quick heads up about tomorrow's show. So obviously practice starts in the morning. We're going to be there. And then, of course, there's the Marcus Freeman press conference afterwards. With the practice time starting when it does, and I don't know if we're allowed to say the practice time or not, but when it's over, going to be close to and then the press conference is right after, that might get it harder for us to start right at 1 o'clock. So that's why you need to make sure that you've hit that, you obviously hit the like and subscribe and all that, but also make sure you get that notification bell. And then also make sure you follow me on Twitter at CoachD178, or if you're a premium message board member, we'll announce then when we're going to go live. It may be 1:30, it may be 2 o'clock. We're going to try to go at 1, but it just depends on what time we get back from practice. And so that's going to be the challenge with that. And, practice will usually probably get over like around noon to 12:30-ish. And then, of course, the press conference. So just keep that in mind for start time tomorrow. It'll be once we're back from practice in the press conference. And so and then tomorrow's show will be all about wrapping up, recapping the practice. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very much looking forward to it. So that's going to do it for this show, this segment of the show. It's the show. All right, guys, have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow. That'll do it for this portion of the show. We're going to do buy so hold next. But just a reminder, folks, we've got some great intel pieces on the board. And I mean, I say great because I'm excited about the intel that I'm getting. I just write it up. I'm not making the intel. So it's not like my writing was great. It's more of like, I'm excited about the intel that I got from, the last couple weeks, and got one more coming out tonight. It's going to be on the secondary. So very much excited about that, but that you got to be on the message board to check that out. You can go to boards.irishbreakdown.com. We're going to be rolling out here in the next week or so what our new in-season content plan is going to be. It's going to impact the show as well as the premium message board. So there are going to be a couple things this year that are going to be things that we've done in the past on the live shows. They're going to now be move over to the premium board. So just another reason that you want to be a part of that community. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about this year's content plan. It's going to be a blast. But we're going to move on to Buy Sell Hold next, folks. But again, thank you for joining us on the Irish Breakdown Podcast. And with that, without further ado, we got to bring our guy Vince Hi-Ho Hidario.
What's up, guys?
Is now with us. Let's go to word, buddy. How are you?
Ready to roll, man. Got a quick lunch in and ready to rock and roll. Excited for some buy sell hold.
I saw sure. Vince jumps into the thing. We can see him down. You can see him just punishing his food like I'm trying to get done before buy sell hold starts. I get it, man.
When you guys are talking about, what was coming up with camp and everything, I was like, oh, that first show is going to take about an hour. So I got some time to eat some lunch.
No.
And I get the text we're about ready.
If that were taking an hour with all the great buy sell hold submissions, and we'd be going to like 8 o'clock. Hey, Sean, you're going to cancel your show tonight, man. We're going to like 8 o'clock. But no, I'm excited, man. I'm ready to go. We got some great buy sell hold submissions today. We'll get to those here in a second.
Awesome.
Look, buy sell hold has been really interesting this off season. It's been a lot better than I thought it was going to be. You guys have done a great job of not getting stale, but I got to say I'm a little excited about this buy sell hold because I think with camp kind of there's a lot more like real specific things that I'm looking forward to getting into. Yeah. So we're going to dive into that. As always, folks, the buy sell hold is for our premium members only. They we'll have there's a thread that is created on the board, and then people will submit their buy sell hold submissions in there. They're not meant to be questions. They're meant to be statements. And then we act whether we buy it, whether we sell it, or whether we hold it. We try not to hold. Usually when we do holds, it's really about, okay, I don't really have enough information. I don't really know. I don't really have an opinion on that. We try not to use holds too much, but sometimes it's necessary. If you want to get a buy sell hold in now and you didn't get it submitted in time, you can always give us a super chat like our guy John Banco did. So we'll actually start with his super chat. But just so you guys know, that's what this is for. It's not necessarily something we're going to be taking a lot of things from the chat, but we have a ton of great buy sell holds today, guys. I'm very excited. And there's a couple food ones in there too. So those are going to be interesting. There's one about favorite Vietnam War movies. And so there's a lot of interesting stuff today. I'm excited about it, but we're going to get started, fellas, with a buy sell hold from John Banco.
All right, John, appreciate the super chat to get your buy sell hold in here. So he says, buy sell hold, the worst officiating last year for a Notre Dame game was the Virginia game.
I'm selling that. I still think that the Penn State game and the Georgia game were incredibly poorly officiated, and I don't know which one was worse.
It was the same crew too, wasn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so. That's why Marcus Freeman was like doing this, pointing at that one guy against Penn State, like, oh, it's like the same guy.
Yeah, with
like same guy,
with like a sly smile on his, like, okay,
yeah. Like I think of like the pass interference penalty they called on Jack Kaiser in the Georgia game. You think awful. Of the pass interference penalty against Don Schuler in the Penn State game on Jack Kaiser's interception. I thought there was some holding that wasn't called against the Notre Dame defensive line being held that wasn't called. I get the rule is the rule, but the sideline penalty, that kid was barely in the white. That ref was running real deep into the white. You got to be closer to the line, the field. It's funny, Georgia fans have like convinced themselves that like he scored on that play.
Yeah,
it got down to like the 5 and it was a no-brainer touchdown. I'm like, the way your offense was that day, I don't know that it was going to be, but it did change some momentum of that game, and I just didn't think it needed to be called in that moment. Like, give them a warning. I get that you were, maybe embarrassed or a little dinged up, but like you were pretty deep into the white, man. Like I just didn't love that call. And then the no face mask penalty on Riley Leonard's long run, where Notre Dame ended up I don't think they ended up scoring. Did they score a touchdown? No, they didn't score a touchdown on that drive. Their only offensive touchdown was on at the end of the half. That long 32-plus yard run plus another 15, now Notre Dame's knocking on the door of a touchdown run. I just thought the Georgia game both ways was incredibly poorly officiated. And yeah, it impacted Notre Dame a pretty decent amount, but I thought it impacted Georgia a couple times as well. I don't think it changed the outcome of the game too much. I think the outcome would have been similar. I think actually, if anything, it hurt Notre Dame more than it hurt Georgia. And so I felt that was, and then the Penn State game had some blatantly bad calls, but I thought overall it wasn't poorly officiated from start to finish. It just had like 5 really egregious calls. I get the Virginia game, but I just was never like, I get they had the one just stupid officiating mistake on the touchdown to Jordan Faison on the special teams. That was a terrible. I don't know that the rest of the game I don't remember the rest of the game being poorly officiated. Like the hold that brought back the long touchdown to Jane, it was a hold. I mean, you could argue it didn't impact the play, but it was a blatant hold. It was just a bad job by Pat Coogan. Or was it a hold or a hand to the face? I forget which one it was. I think it was a hold. It was just a bad play by Pat. It happens. I don't remember it being poorly officiated otherwise, besides that just terrible call on special teams where like they literally told them what they were going to do, got the okay that it was, and then they still flagged it and did it super late.
Yeah.
Like super late.
Just the whole, what do they call it? The
operation.
The operation. Thank you. The whole operation was just awful. It stunk of guys that didn't know what they were doing. It's one thing to make a bad call and just own it. You know what I mean? And you do it in the moment and you own the call, and you can go back later and say there was a bad call, that kind of thing. This just was like, they didn't know what they were doing. Like it just was, they were clueless. And I have a problem with that. You know what I mean?
Like they were making it up. Like, well,
yeah.
we don't think that's right, so we'll just go ahead and cancel it.
Because look, people are going to make bad calls. The refs are human. Like I'll give them a pass to a degree, but like when you don't know what you're doing, that I have a problem with. When that is your profession, like you should know what you're doing. So it wasn't even a judgment call. It was just like, well, we don't know, so we're just going to do this. Like,
right.
That was poor.
Right. That was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. And there's a couple other games that I thought were poorly officiated, but I've kind of blocked some of that stuff out. But I just thought when you get to the playoffs, you expect the game to be officiated better than the Georgia Notre Dame game was, just all around. What do you guys think about that sideline call?
It was very ticky-tack, like, okay, letter of the law. Yes, it was a penalty.
But aren't you supposed to give a warning
first? Give a warning. Yes,
right.
You are absolutely supposed to give a warning first.
Technically, according to the rules, if actual physical contact is made, allegedly, you don't have to give a warning. It's refs can give you a warning if they don't make physical contact with you, but like you're in the white.
Right.
But if you make physical contact with an official from the sideline, then it's, to me, where the ticky-tack part comes in is the ref, to your point, Brian, was running very deep in the white.
Very deep
on the sideline.
Yeah. And it was way behind the play. It didn't keep him from doing his job. He was 10, 15, 20 yards behind the play.
Yes, very much behind
the play. It didn't affect his ability to officiate the game. So I didn't.
I think the ref was embarrassed more than anything else, and so he had to call something. That. You know what I mean? Like
I think some refs are just control freaks.
Yeah,
it is what it is. I have another super chat
from Beef Eater. Thanks for the super chat, appreciate it. IB pre-camp spa retreat, stadium popcorn exfoliating massages, linebacker floor gunk face peels, stadium beer cleanse, and other amenities.
Sell. My next spa retreat will be my first spa retreat, and I'm pretty sure that's not going to have a first spa retreat. So I'm going to go ahead and sell on all those. You're not going to make me buy one of those. Sorry.
This is like, look, I'm down if somebody wants to, throw me a massage, professional. Like, okay, I'm old and I could use some relaxation.
I'm old. I'm kind of broken.
Yeah, like, okay, bring it. But the weirdness that is associated with those things in this particular question, I have to sell everything. I'm with you.
Yeah. I'm going to pass on that action.
I'm not too sure what a linebacker floor gunk face peel is.
Something you don't want, Trev. Something you're going to want to sell. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Something you're going to want to sell.
I'm going to sell it outside of I'm going to sell it because I just don't know what it is and it sounds disgusting.
This doesn't sound good at all.
No.
Floor
Stadium
gunk.
beer cleanse. Like, what the heck is that? Like my showering under a thing of, yeah, I'm gonna sell all those. Sell. I'm trading places. Sell. Yes, that's what I'm doing right now,
That's
buddy.
right.
Yes. Jacob Hayden.
Oh, we got one from Jacob. Thank you so much for the super chat. Buy, sell, hold. High school recruits seeing all these former NFL players, kids going to Notre Dame will help open kids' eyes to the big picture of what Notre Dame offers both long and short term.
Jacob, absolutely astute observation. That's a buy. That's a buy for me. Yeah, that's a good take. I just don't see how it doesn't help. And these are guys. Some of these guys are guys that these kids still know. I don't know how many kids know who Bryant Young is. I don't know how many of them know who Thomas Davis is necessarily. I think they know who Jerome Bettis is. I think they know who Plexico Burris is for the most part. I think Larry Fitzgerald, definitely they know who Larry Fitzgerald is.
Right.
I think some of them will know who Jermichael Finley is. But it's just the culmination of it, I think, is huge.
Yeah. And Notre Dame does a very good job of also putting it out there without bragging about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like they put, the father and son pictures together of all the NFL guys, and like they put it out there for, hey, take this for what you want. But we just had a bunch of NFL guys and their kids on campus, and we wanted to make sure we got the picture together. So I think Notre Dame does a good job of putting it out there as well. And kids aren't stupid. Like, they're going to see that trend, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Agreed completely.
Going to be fun. So that's all of the that's all of the super chats for the buy sell hold. So we can bring those down, and we can bring the cards up. It is now time for the cards. And as always, once we get to the cards, Salty Virginia Peanuts has the first question, but let's go ahead, fellas, and get rocking and rolling.
All right. From Salty, buy, sell, hold, the defensive end pass rush will be a defensive strength for Notre Dame this season, exceeding that of defenses of the last decade. And Traore, Young, Burnham, and Tuihalamaka will figure most prominently.
I buy all this as obviously they need to prove it. We got to see this unit prove that, but the talent is there. I fully expect that. And I think early in the season, it might be more of Burnham, Tuihalamaka, maybe Young, and then eventually they work Traore into a more prominent role. I think they'll probably try to bring him along a little bit slower. But I think we'll also see Logan Thomas have a role in pass rushing. I mean, look, 4th down play against Georgia, of the quarterfinal game, Sugar Bowl against Georgia, they have Logan Thomas on the field. I mean, so there's faith in him last year in some of those settings. I remember him. Remember, he picked up a fumble and returned it for a touchdown against Louisville. It got called back, but like he was on the field for that play. That was earlier in the game.
Yeah.
So he'll be part of that equation as well. As long as he can stay healthy, he'll be part of that as well. But I do think the edge rush, and then eventually they're going to get Jordan Patojo back. I'm with him. I'm in sort of a wait and see what he looks like when he gets back. But yeah, I absolutely think this edge group is going to be a strength for this team this year. There's no doubt about it.
Buy as well.
All right, let's get to the next one.
From Ramcray75, buy, sell, hold. I'm going to continue with my buy, sell, hold theme from last week, he says. Terrell Davis, Barry Sanders, Marshall Faulk.
Well, I don't want to keep exhausting the same tired shtick that I always go with here, but I didn't watch these guys play in their prime.
I can take this one, and this hurts my heart, Trev. This one hurts.
I know, because you're going to put TD last, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. and I'll buying Barry Sanders. I think he's the greatest running back to ever play of my lifetime. I didn't see Jim Brown play.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Walter Payton play. Walter Payton was the second best running back probably of my lifetime. Best running back's Barry Sanders. And for me, it's not really close. He was special as a player. If he would have played as long as Emmitt Smith, he would have set a rushing record that will never be touched.
Agreed.
Like ever be touched. It'd be like Walter Johnson Cy Young records that just are never going to be touched in Major League Baseball because it's such a different game than it was in 1902, and so that's a buy. Hold on Marshall Faulk. And if you take anyone other than maybe Barry Sanders and and Walter Payton, he's in the conversation for being a buy. Marshall Faulk was a tremendous player. The reason I take him over Terrell Davis, look, if you take the best 2 years of Terrell Davis and the best 2 years of Marshall Faulk, I'm taking Terrell Davis. But I look at this, however, as a career, and the injuries just kept Terrell Davis from being the player he could have been. I mean, he went down in his prime. It was the year after he rushed for 2,000 yards, the year after he won the MVP, and he gets hurt first game of the year, something like that. I think wasn't it the Jets was the first game, and he never rushed for 1,000 yards again. So we had like 3 years of just peak Terrell Davis. But that can't make you as good as for a career of Marshall and Barry. I'll take Terrell's greatest year over Marshall's greatest year. But Marshall had like 8 or 9 of them, and Terrell had 3 or 4 of them. And that's why I have to sell Terrell Davis. Unfortunately, it hurts my heart because TD helped me get, finally get my long-awaited, Broncos Super Bowls. He played a huge role in that. But Vince, so you saw them play. You disagree with that?
Oh no, that's my exact order. It's Barry Sanders by a lot, and then you get down to, okay, do I take TD or do I take Marshall Faulk? And the only reason I take Marshall Faulk ahead of Terrell Davis, all the reasons that you said, and I also think Marshall Faulk is a little bit more. He can do a little bit more.
A lot more.
You know what I mean? Like he can catch out
Marshall
of the back.
Faulk had a 1,000-yard receiving season.
Exactly. Like he's more versatile, and I want that on my offense if I'm calling plays. You know what I mean? Because I can use him more. Look, TD was amazing in those 2 to 3 years, no doubt about it. But I want a guy that's going to be more versatile, so I would take Marshall Faulk over him. But I mean, come on, we're splitting hairs.
Like even then, so like Marshall's, let's look at yards from scrimmage. Marshall's best season in yards for scrimmage, he had 2 years of over 2,000 yards. That was 98 and 99. One with the Colts, one with the Rams.
Yeah.
But in that year, he had 2,429 yards. And when you look at Terrell Davis, also had 2 2,000-yard seasons, and Terrell had 2,225 yards. And that's only like 200 less.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back and look at that season, Terrell was not playing as much down the stretch because remember, Denver started that year off 13-0.
Right.
They had clinched home field for a minute. And so we didn't see, we saw them kind of ramp it up a little bit to get them to 2,000, but we weren't seeing like the same kind of, we've got to grind them the way that you did. And so I just think overall, that's why I think he was just the better player. And then you look at touchdowns, he had 23 touchdowns that season. Marshall, that in his year of 2,400 yards had 12 touchdowns that year. It's a win-win, guys. It really is. And Terrell was pretty good in the pass game. They just didn't use him a lot in the pass game.
Yeah. Yep.
But Marshall was a legit. I mean, Marshall Faulk could have lined up in the slot and been a slot receiver.
Well, and the other part of this for me personally is this was the land of before kind of you got to see any game that you wanted. Mm-hmm. And when Marshall Faulk was playing for the Rams in St. Louis and he was playing for the Colts in Indianapolis, we saw a lot of those games around here. You know what I mean? So I saw Marshall Faulk a lot. And so that does sway my opinion a little bit, just watching his greatness, year in and year out. So that is part of it. I didn't see, honestly, outside of the playoffs, a lot of TD do what he did, because he was out on the West, well, not the West Coast, but you know what I mean? He was out West in Denver doing his
thing. In the AFC West. They were always playing the 4:00 games. They weren't on TV around here very often.
Exactly. And I saw a lot of Barry Sanders and I saw a lot of Marshall Faulk, because they were a lot closer to where I live. So now look, that doesn't Barry Sanders is the best of this list and it's not close.
Yeah.
But I still saw a lot of Barry Sanders too. So
as those are 3 all-time greats.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yes. Greats. Can't go wrong. I would not, I would not say no to any of these guys being on my team.
Yeah.
From RamCray75, buy, sell, hold, smoked ribs, brisket, and smoked salmon.
Oh, buy brisket, hold smoked ribs, sell smoked salmon. And I'm buying brisket kind of by a mile.
I'm with you. I have nothing to add.
I would actually buy smoked ribs, hold brisket, and sell salmon. The problem with me in brisket is I love the flavor of brisket, but I really don't like fat. And a really good brisket is going to have more fat on it than I'm super in love with. And it's not a flavor thing, because obviously that's where the flavor comes from. It's the texture. It just kind
That's
of
fair.
weirds me out a little bit.
Yeah. No, I get that completely. I just think the ceiling of red meat and meat like that when it's smoked is significantly higher than fish.
Sure. Oh yeah. When I cook salmon, I either bake it or I cook it on my stove.
Yep.
I'm not smoking salmon.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a flavor profile I don't love. So yeah, I'm buying ribs. I'm holding brisket, and I'm holding it until I'm done with the ribs. Then I'm eating it, and I'm selling the salmon. So,
Oh, fantastic.
yeah.
All right, T Shoup 11. Buy one, sell one, hold one. Anthony Knapp proves this year he's elite on the edge and doesn't give up a sack. Eli Raridan.
Go ahead.
Eli Raridan.
No, you're fine.
Fully breaks out and has 35-plus catches, over 575 yards, and 7+ touchdowns. And Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price both go over 1,150 yards and acquire a total of 30-plus touchdowns between the two of them.
All right. First, I have to ask a question, fellas. Are we taking this as rushing yards or total yards? Because I kind of took his question as total yards.
I
think that somewhat changes it. I'm still going to sell.
Change it.
I'm going to still sell that one, but I don't sell it as much as I did, because I still don't know how much Jadarian Price is going to catch the football. Like, I could see a Jadarian Price having 1,050 yards this year and still not getting to 1,150.
Yeah.
He had 4 catches for 10 yards last year. Now, Jadarian can catch the ball. Saw that in high school. But I just don't know if they're both going to get to that. The 30 touchdowns I could see them get to. They were at 24 last year. They'll get close to it. I could get close to it, but
26 last year if you count Love's 2 receiving touchdowns.
That's right, because he had 17 plus 7, 26. So they got close to that last year. I don't know how much that's going to change. It could change a lot. You could see them over 20 because you don't have Riley Leonard as your red zone weapon anymore. Yeah. But does that become Love, or does that become Keidron Young? So that'll be an interesting look at those two. But I'm still selling that one. I'm going to buy Eli Raridan. That's an easy buy for me. And I'm going to hold Anthony Knapp. If you would have said 1,000 yards on the backs, I'd have taken the backs and I would have sold Anthony Knapp. I think Anthony Knapp could be elite and still give up a sack.
Right. That's the only pause I have with that
yeah.
one.
I mean, Ronnie Stanley gave up like 3 or 4 sacks in his 2015 season, where he was I think a unanimous All-American. So I especially when you look at the schedule they play, you could give up some sacks, and you don't have Riley Leonard to that mobile quarterback to kind of bail you out. I don't think that's necessarily something that I look at and say giving up a sack equals not elite. Again, Ronnie Stanley in 2015 gave up 3 sacks, 4 hits on the quarterback, according to Pro Football Focus. He was excellent that year, but you're going to have those snaps. You're going to have those snaps. Mike McGlinchey in his All-American year in 2017 gave up 3 sacks and 2 hits on the quarterback. Now, in a 13-game season, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
In Liam Eichenberg's 2020 All-American season, he didn't give up a sack. But I think we could look back at that 2020 season and say the competition prior to the ACC title game with a healthy Clemson, but even really until Bama, they didn't face a lot of real good edge rushers that year. Now, Liam was excellent, but that was also Liam's 3rd year as a starter. And he was a redshirt senior that season. Anthony Knapp's a true sophomore. So I just think that's I don't think he could. I'm not selling that he's proven he could elite. Part of my bold prediction from a week ago was predicting he's going to be an All-American this year. It's more so the no sacks part that I think is the one that I'm selling on.
So what was your order then?
I'm buying Raridan,
okay, holding
Knapp, selling the rushing yards. What I did say was, if you'd have just given me 1,000 yards, I would have held that and sold the Anthony Knapp one.
Gotcha. I'm with you on Eli Raridan. I'm selling Anthony Knapp and holding the running backs, because I think that Anthony Knapp's ceiling on the edge won't make him elite. I think where he projects the best is the inside for him to be an elite player, and then also not giving up a sack. Like that's a tall order for what's coming up on their schedule, and with an expanded playoff, that's also good.
Joe Walt gave up a sack in 12 games in 2023.
Yeah. So that's why I'm selling the Anthony Napoli. Not saying that I don't think he's going to be good at left tackle. It's just I think if he plays to the best of his abilities, I don't know if that makes him elite. I think it makes him really good. But I think where he projects to be the most elite is on the inside.
Yeah. Joe Walt gave up 5 pressures in 2023. One of them was a sack. You can be elite and give up a sack.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Vince, anything?
I'm with Trevor. I was going to go just flip-flop your last 2 for the exact same reason. So no reason to hatch it on, but that's where it's the give up 1 sack thing that I have a hard time with. And then also the 30 plus touchdowns I was a little wary of for the running back one, but I'll sell the no sack and hold the touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Another one. Okay, here we go. Same from T-Shot, Tristan. The offense will rank higher than the defense this year statistically. Yards per game, yards per attempt, plays over 20 yards plus.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, are we talking about like in like the yards that the defense allows, like yards per game the defense allows? Like I would hope that would be the case.
Yeah.
So I'd definitely buy this.
So basically, is the offense going to rank higher? So like in total offense versus total defense?
Oh, I got you. I thought
like
he was talking
Notre Dame
about
ranks. Yeah, rank higher, meaning like
Yeah.
Notre Dame. Yeah, like if Notre Dame has a 450 yards per game average, but they give up 475. No,
That's
Notre
a
Dame
problem.
finishes 5th in total defense, or offense. Defense finishes 7th in total defense.
Gotcha.
That's that one.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I'm still buying it. I think this is going to be a big year.
It has a little something different though to it.
It does.
Well,
It has a little something different.
At first, I was like, Tristan, my man, I hope so. I was like, Notre Dame's offense is scoring 39 points a game, but the defense is giving up 40. This is going to be a rough year.
Yeah,
but
very long year. And
maybe shootouts, lots of them.
Notre Dame led the nation in most plays of over 20 yards. Also led the nation in most plays allowed of over 20 yards. Rank. That's where his rank is where I think makes that answers. A ranking is different than they're going to go for more yards than they allow, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm buying actually I'm buying yards per game, I'm buying yards per play, and I'm going to buy all 3 of those. But it's going to be close because the thing is, even like just last year where the defense was really, really good and the offense was not as really, really good
statistically.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at scoring offense, for example, and scoring defense, they were both top 10. And I just think this offense is going to be a lot more effective than it was. And so this is more of a note on the offense than it is the defense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, another one. He said we got buy one, sell one, hold one, all of breakfast, cereal, pancakes, bacon, all sausage, hash brown, eggs, orange juice, milk, etc. So we have to buy a certain breakfast item?
I think, yeah.
Oh, here we go. Oh, okay. Here we go. We got some more. So the next category would be all cookout foods: hot dogs, burgers, pulled pork, watermelon, potato salad, macaroni salad. And then the next category would be all dinner foods: steak, cooked veggies, baked potatoes, pasta, chicken, rice, etc. So buy one, sell one, hold one, guys. This one's easy for me.
Okay, go ahead, Vince.
Breakfast is an all buy for me. I love breakfast. We just had French toast for dinner last night, and it was amazing. So breakfast all day, buying. I will hold on dinner because I love steak and I love pasta, and those are the things that are in for dinner. And I mean, look at me. I love pasta. So
your name is Vincent D'Addario.
Yes, and with the middle name of Anthony. So
yeah.
I love pasta. So and look, I love a good cookout with the best of them, but out of these categories, that's going to be my sell.
Yeah, it did take a big leap for me to guess that Vincent Anthony D'Addario likes pasta.
Listen. tonight, my plans for tonight is we are going to accept a scholarship on behalf of Dylan, the Italian American scholarship.
That's flipping awesome.
So we're riding the Italian train.
You look a lot more Italian than he does. He looks like Northern Italian. You know what I mean?
True.
Like you look borderline Sicilian. You look like you could fit in with Angela's family. Your kid would not.
No, he doesn't.
Like,
but on paper,
paper,
it's good. I go, make sure you say my name a couple times.
Yeah, he's fair skinned like my wife. So, but unfortunately, I am. This is a tough one for me, Vince. I'll probably go the same way as you. Buy breakfast, but it's a tough one because the reason that I say I'll buy breakfast because some people eat steak for breakfast. Like that's the thing for me. But like breakfast is always good. Dinner's not always good. Like I wouldn't necessarily love, and I love my lasagna. I make a really mean lasagna. I wouldn't want that at 9 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock in the morning. If I was craving a steak, I could crave a steak. Whereas if Angela's like, hey, let's make, you said French toast, or let's make, steak, eggs and hash browns or something like that for dinner. I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it.
Yep.
The only breakfast food I don't like at dinner is pancakes. I don't like pancakes for dinner because they're just so heavy. Okay. And it's like, it's more about like, just, I don't feel great at like going to bed. It's like, I got those pancakes sitting on my stomach. That's the only reason I don't like it. It's not the taste thing. It's just real heavy on your stomach depending on how late you have dinner. Cause I mean, I went to college away from home. Believe me, I've had some 3 o'clock in the morning pancake, meals. So I have experience with what a pancake is like at midnight, 11 o'clock, and then trying to go to bed. It's not great. And then the only potato salad, like water. I mean, those things are all good, but I'm not like a huge hot dog guy,
right?
Macaroni, like a lot of the cookout stuff. I'm like, I'll eat watermelon, I'll eat the meat, and I'll eat a potato salad, and that's about it. And it depends on what your potato salad's made of, because some potato salad I don't like. So I'm way more picky with that kind of stuff. But I do make a mean smash burger, as Vince will attest.
Oh, that's the only thing that gave me pause about the cookout food. Because it was the burger, and I.
But you can still have burgers for dinner.
This is true. No, that's absolutely fair, and we have. So, rock on.
Yeah, there we go. Whenever Vince hears Angela's going out of town, he's like, "Ooh, are we gonna do smash burgers?
Is it smash burger time?"
Yeah, I think I'm about to make some enemies on this show. I'm selling breakfast.
Oh no,
I know.
I think you've said that before, though, Trev. You're not a huge breakfast guy.
With food, it comes down to ceilings for me, and I think the ceiling of breakfast doesn't come close to the ceiling of dinner. Like I love pancakes and French toast and waffles and bacon and all that, but it's just when eggs are a big centerpiece of something, like I think the best eggs don't come close to a steak. And I know you can have steak for breakfast, but then we start getting into like overlap and stuff, because like at breakfast you get bacon. Well, I could get a bacon wrapped steak for dinner, so it's like
bacon wrapped steak.
Yeah. So I would sell breakfast. I'm buying dinner, and I'm holding cookout food.
I'm not making any enemies. I mean, you like what you like.
Yeah,
I get that.
Good.
Yeah, my parents would probably go with you on this, because like my mom doesn't really love eggs. So I don't know that she would feel the same way. And like you said, you can have bacon with things at dinner, but I'm still going breakfast, because I just like, especially like bacon and like eggs and hash browns and a couple pieces of bacon. That's just, I can do that all day.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of breakfast foods out there that I wouldn't give up, get after, So
You get that.
Okay, here we go. Another one. The infamous IB playoff prediction doesn't exist and is the second largest PSYOP
Just spelled incorrectly.
21st century.
Well, with all the PSYOPs that we've seen our country grow through the last 10 years, even if that didn't exist, it's not in the top 1,000. But you guys have seen it. You guys answer this one. Have you guys seen my playoff projection?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I have.
I sent it to both of you. You have.
I'm sure you did.
It was a screenshot of my Excel graph that I made.
Okay.
So, but yes, it exists. It might go through some tweaks, but yeah, I've teased it a little bit, but we're gonna have that here the week before. Vince, when is that scheduled? It's the weekend before the first game, or is it 2 weekends before?
We have it on the calendar.
It's on the schedule. So that'll come out in August, middle to late August.
Yeah, I just have podcasts with Brian, but we have them the first Saturday, the 16th, and the 23rd. So we'll have something.
I forget which one it's going to be.
Right.
I think the Notre Dame one's going to be the 16th, and then the college football one's the next weekend. I think that's what we decided because, I won't say why, but that's why we decided it that way. But it does exist, Tristan. Yes. So that's a sell. That's a sell.
Buy, sell, hold. If one was inclined to bet on the over-under for Beck interceptions, you would set the line at 1.5 and bet the over.
Like for the Notre Dame game, I'm assuming you're talking about, Tristan? Yeah, I'd buy that. I would take the over.
Agree.
Me too.
I would also think 1.5, setting at 1. Actually, I'm going to sell the 1.5 or the over. But I think 1.5 is a good place to set it. Yeah. I think he's going to end up on his back a lot more than he throws it to other teams. I see him throwing a pick, maybe having a fumble, but I think some of that's going to result in more incompletions. And
I think he's going to try to force it a lot, know, and that could be dangerous. So
I hope you guys are right.
Me too. That'll make that day a lot more fun. Okay, buy, sell, hold. The lack of throwing to his new pass catchers in the spring, along with the elbow surgery, will ultimately lead to Carson Beck throwing at least one pick.
Now, this I think we all buy, since you guys went the over. I went the under, but I still think at least one. I just think a lot of the things you're mentioning here, Tristan, are going to more result in him taking sacks because he's unsure of where to go with the football than it will be him forcing balls into bad spots. I think when guys have like a confidence in the system, that's when I think they force a lot of bad balls. When a guy is uncertain of what he's seeing and where guys are going to be, that's when you take sacks. Not always, but that's kind of how I see a veteran like him, how that one playing out.
From Aiden Benami, buy, sell, hold. You're not surprised that not many people knew how bad BK was in recruiting. After seeing so many people like and retweet Always Talking Ball podcast tweet and not knowing some of BK's horrid stories.
I'm not surprised, so I'll buy that. I mean, look, let's just say the things that I said about Brian Kelly before he left were not real popular. And we were also I wasn't a huge social media guy, where I just went out and just vomited every thought that I had. When I get in a role, I'll go, but I don't just jump up in the morning, jump on Twitter and let everyone know what I had for breakfast. You know what I mean? It's just not really my cup of tea, but I just have never, part of the reason that and I was talking with somebody about this today, but part of the reason that we grew so much when Kelly left was, number one, people found our podcast because we went live right away. We were ahead of the game in regards to dude, get out there, do a show right away. And people want to know about it. It was instant. Where a lot of people were like, okay, let's write a long form article, which is fine. That's how media was. And I get that, but we were trying to do something different. But the other part of it was, I can't tell how many emails I've gotten from people that are like, dude, I used to hate you so much because you were always so hard on Kelly and you were the only one. I just thought it was jealous. And then when he left and everybody started regurgitating stuff you'd been saying for years, I realized that I'd been had. And so a lot of people didn't know that, because if you weren't listening to us, you weren't hearing a lot of that. So, and I think some people still haven't heard some of those things, but it's funny. These guys are like, oh, that's not true. And it's funny. I had some guy who covered that recruitment text me and he's like, dude, that was such a bad situation. He was told the same thing. He talked to the kid and was told the same thing. The kid told him that. Carter Carrells, remember, he's the one that put the story out about Lathan Ransom, where he's like, I like Notre Dame a lot, but I didn't feel like a priority because Brian Kelly would never talk to me. It wasn't a singular situation. So, but I'm not surprised. I accepted that a long time ago. And then there's still some people that some other guy sends me a message. He was all triggered, by my comments. Why don't you let it go? I was asked a question. So I'm going to answer the question. I didn't bring it up. I was asked the question, but there are some people that still live in that fantasy world that Brian Kelly's out there busting his tail every day and did everything he could for the program. No, he didn't. It's exactly why I went off on him about it. So, yeah. It is funny some of the lies that people have. Like, there's still people that believe the reason I wasn't at games or press conferences in 2021 is because I was banned.
Hilarious.
My employees could go, but I couldn't go.
Right.
Or maybe it's because I didn't get the vaccine that was required to be there, and so I couldn't go. So it is hilarious that there are still people that believe that Brian Kelly banned me in 2021.
Hilarious.
That's like, okay, I was allowed to go to road games, but I couldn't go. I could go to press conferences at road games, and I did, but I couldn't go to home games. And you think it's because I was banned. Like, you do know that Notre Dame will tell the opposing media, don't take this person. This person's not this person's not on our beat. That's how it works. That's why we don't get these random people that are like covering road games. But it's hilarious some of the things that people will believe. And I know who started that rumor. I know 2 people started that rumor, but it's just funny the things that people will believe. And that's why the Brian Kelly era was so miserable for me, because I'm out there telling guys, this is what I'm being told. Oh, that's a lie. Okay, well then I have 10 players and their parents lying to me about all telling me the same exact story, and they're just it's a psyop of the players to get me in trouble. So they want me to. I mean, it was so crazy.
It's a conspiracy.
But when you're the only person saying something, and other people who we respect also aren't saying it, then I get why some people are like, I think that guy's full of crap.
They're saying it now, though.
What's that?
I mean, those people that we respect are saying it now. Well,
to a degree. I mean, I still think there's some people that you and I would say that we respect a lot that still feel like Brian Kelly did a really great job at Notre Dame. And my answer is, I think Brian Kelly did a very good job at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
My frustration is Brian Kelly didn't do enough to take him all the way. But you've never heard me say Brian Kelly sucked at Notre Dame. I think Brian Kelly gets credit for things he doesn't deserve credit for. And I don't think Jack Swarbrick gets enough credit for things that he deserves credit for. But to act like Brian Kelly played no prominent role in Notre Dame going from what they were under Charlie Weiss and Ty Willingham and Bob Davie to what they were at the end of his tenure, I think is foolish. I just also think we need to acknowledge the reality that for most of the coaching search that brought us Mike Elko and Chip Long, Brian Kelly's agent was trying to get him out of Notre Dame. I talked to people involved in that. It was Jack Swarbrick and Chad Klunder that drove that coaching search. So no, I'm not going to give Brian Kelly for hiring guys like that. I'm not going to give Brian Kelly credit for hiring Matt Balis when it wasn't until Bob Diaco got fired and then recommended Matt Balis to Brian Kelly that he went after Matt Balis. So no, I'm not going to give him credit for those things, but I will give him credit for the fact that even prior to that, Notre Dame as a program was still way better off than it was before Brian Kelly got here in a lot of ways. I'll give Brian Kelly a lot of credit for hiring Marcus Freeman. That was not a driven by Jack Swarbrick move. That was a Brian Kelly move. So I'll give him credit where credit is due. I'll give him credit for, recognizing the potential that Clark Lee had and promoting him after Mike Elko left after one season. But he did a really nice job, but his own issues are what kept him from taking that next step. And you need to be willing to admit both, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's not clicking over.
Another one from Iden. I know you prefer buy, sell, hold. I know you prefer the 5-11 model. You don't think the regular season will suffer and the committee will not have too much bias power. I was for 5-11, the best 16 teams, 100%, until watching Pate, a few times, breaking it down, and he convinced me. I'm still torn, though. So convinced towards the automatic buys?
I'm selling Josh's take on this.
Okay.
And he makes a strong, Josh Pate believes that 5+11 will ruin the regular season. And his notion of the 4 automatic qualifiers, he basically thinks will make a more exciting regular season, because then it'll play into getting those, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5 SEC championship weekend games. I don't agree. First of all, I don't think the 6th best team in a conference having a shot to win a spot in the postseason makes the regular season better. If anything, I think it cheapens the regular season. It makes the postseason more entertaining, but the number 6 seed beating the number 3 seed to earn a bid to the playoff, in my opinion, does not make it better for the regular season. It means you can go 8-4, but as long as you're better on that one Saturday where you're the 6 and you beat the 3 that you're in. And again, I'm giving you a rough rundown of basically what Josh believes, but that's kind of the argument. So there's more teams in contention for like those number 5, 6 spots. And I just don't think that adds to it at all. Give me the last weekend of the regular season. This winner gets gets here, that winner gets there. But I think what it does is it cheapens the regular season by adding a lot of mediocrity. It gets put into a postseason hunt. And I think that one Saturday upset of number 6 beating number 3 is going to result in some really crappy first round playoff games. Look, the first round of playoffs in an expanded playoff is always going to have blowouts. Look at D3, look at D2, look at the FCS, and look at last year. When you have really good teams playing not really good teams, there's usually a separation, even at the Division III level, the Division II level. There's usually like 5 or 6 teams that are just kind of better than everybody else on a given year. And teams 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 are just not going to be that kind of team. It's rare that there's like a 16 USC that is a 9 seed, but they went through some changes to where by the time they got to the playoff, they were not playing like a 9 seed. That's rare. Very rare. Ohio State last year, but they were the automatic qualifiers. That's still pretty good. So I don't think it adds to the regular season at all. I don't. I think that there's a lot of things that you can do to fix the playoff. I would say, hey, stay at 12 if you're worried about this. Stay at 12. But I don't think giving 12 automatic bids to conferences does a whole lot, because there's going to be years the Big Ten deserves 4 or more. There's going to be years the SEC deserves 4 or more. There's going to be the years the ACC doesn't deserve more than 1. There's going to be years the Big 12 doesn't deserve more than 1. There might be years the Big 10 doesn't deserve more than 2, or let that play out, as opposed to, well, the 4 best teams in this league are going to get in no matter what. It could be a down year in the league and you got a bunch of mediocre teams after the top 2, and they're going to get in anyway. That does not create a better playoff, and it does not make the regular season better. I don't agree with that at all. If there's 6 Big Ten teams worthy of getting in, then let those 6 teams get in. And only take 2 SECs or 1 Big 12 or 1 ACC. I do agree in having 1 automatic bid. So I'm not anti-automatic qualifiers, because I think you need to protect these leagues to some degree, because we don't have a ton of crossover. So we don't think the Big 12 is good, so we don't give them any. I don't think that's the way to go. But I just don't agree with an automatic call. I actually don't agree with an automatic qualifier beyond 4. I don't think that the group of 5 should have an automatic bid to the playoff. I don't. I think that you should say they get an automatic bid if they rank in the top whatever. But if you're the 21st ranked team, like we did a show on Navy yesterday. Was it yesterday? Was it 2? Yeah, yesterday. And we were talking about if Navy's 12-1, 10-2, they might have a shot to get it. Those Boise scenarios and Navy scenarios we were talking about yesterday, those are not playoff teams. They do not belong in the playoffs, in my opinion. In those scenarios, now if Navy's 12-1 and they play Notre Dame to a 10-point game and they smack everybody else, then you could argue they're a playoff team. But there's been years where UCF was a legit playoff team. There's other years where the group of 5 team would have been like, that team has no business being in the college football playoff. The Memphis team that Penn State beat in the Cotton Bowl, that team would have been in a 12 to 16 team playoff. That's a joke. That's just no. So I'm actually a 4-12 model guy. I just know that's not possible. So 5-11 is still the way to go. I just think the more automatic qualifiers you give, the more you cheapen the regular season. Josh is convincing in what he says. I just think it's a bad argument.
Yeah, we see that the same.
How about you, Vince?
Yeah, I'm with you. I am so diametrically opposed to the 4 automatic bids from the big conference. I just sometimes that will work because you'll get who is supposed to be in there, but you know what? It will always work if you do the 5-11. And so that's where I'm at. I want the best teams in the playoff. I don't want the best teams from the SEC and the best, you know what I mean? I don't want that. I want the best teams in the country. And I don't think you will get that every single year if you do the 4 automatics. So
agree.
That's where I'm at.
Michael Lynch agrees with what I've been saying for years. Bowls plus 4 is honestly the perfect system. And I have always said that. I will continue to say that. That is truly the best system that makes the regular season relevant, that makes the bowl season relevant, and still gives us the playoff to make money. I still think that is the best way to go. I've been saying that, Vince, from the first moment we talked about the playoff. I said that's the way I would go if it was up to me. But that's just not going to happen because they don't think that's going to make enough money.
Yeah.
I disagree, actually. I think it'd make more money, but we all know that they're not going to look past guaranteed money when they're making these decisions.
That's the biggest issue here.
Yeah.
Is the guaranteed money situation.
And that's the thing is when Josh goes on his long thing about it's going to make the regular season better, and I respect Josh. I think he means what he says. I think he believes what he's saying, but it's like we're playing into their hands by making these silly arguments because they don't want 4 automatic bids to better the regular season or to make this better or that. They want 4 automatic bids because they want the guaranteed money of 4 teams in the playoffs every year. That's what it boils down to. That's it. I can say I know that we're going to make at least this much money from the playoff every year. And so I can budget accordingly. That's really, at the end of the day, all it's about. That's it.
Buy, sell, hold, the quarterback group is not the biggest concern going into the season position group wise.
I'll actually buy this because I think the floor relative to the talent level in the room at quarterback, definitely not concerned. I do think it still remains to be the biggest unknown, but I'm not concerned about it. No matter who starts for Notre Dame, whether it's CJ Carr or Kenny Minchie, I don't have one guy or the other where it's, if CJ wins and not Kenny, I'm not going to be, okay, going with a redshirt freshman. Let's see how this goes. Or if Kenny beats out CJ, it's not going to, okay, they're not going with CJ Carr. Okay, I guess we'll see. The biggest concern for me is still the offensive line. It's going to make all the cogs in the machine on offense go. It doesn't matter if you have Malachi Fields and Jaden Greathouse and Eli Raridan and Jeremiah Love. If you can't protect the quarterback and expand on your inconsistent but flashy run blocking from last season, it's not going to matter who you have at your skilled position. So that is still my number one concern.
I'm going to agree that buy is the answer here. I do somewhat disagree on the offensive line. I think the offensive line is the most important position heading into the fall camp, but it's not my biggest concern. I think tight end depth is still my biggest concern on offense. That's still my big, and I think D tackle is still my biggest question mark on defense. And I think both of those are bigger question marks than the quarterback for the exact reasons Trev just pointed out.
Yep. Guys,
I think CJ Carr is going to be special. And if he's not starting this year, as long as it's a legitimate process, and I don't have any reason to believe that it's not going to be a legitimate process. I think this coaching staff wants the best quarterback possible to lead them to a championship. I don't think we want to rig it for Kenny or rig it for CJ. I have no evidence of that. And so if CJ doesn't get hurt and he's still not starting, then what does that mean about how well Kenny Minchie played in fall camp?
Yeah.
Like I'm good with that. I can live with that. And so I'm barring injury, I'm just not worried about the quarterback position. And to Trev's point, I don't think that they need these quarterbacks to look like Joe Burrow 2019 because of what we think the O-line could be, because of the running backs, because of the talent at receiver and tight end, because of the talent on defense. I'm just not as concerned about the quarterbacks. That's been true. The only question I have about the quarterback is who's going to start. That's it. I mean, yep. I know they're going to be good players. That's all I need them to be. Anything beyond that's a cherry on top. If they're big time, then this is going to be a fun year. But I don't think Notre Dame needs them to be big time to go in the title. They need to be good players. Be John Stockton. You don't need to be Magic. Get the ball where it needs to go. Let the playmakers do what they need to do. That's it. You don't need to be Riley Leonard. Just get the ball to the dudes because you got some dudes. You absolutely got some dudes.
Buy, sell, hold. Jalen Stroman will be better than the other lackluster safeties Notre Dame has brought in the last few years.
I completely reject. I'm selling that because I reject the premise that
lackluster.
First of all, Brandon Joseph didn't pan out, but he wasn't lackluster to bringing in. He was an All-American player. I also think that's disrespectful a little bit to Rod Hurd Rod Hurd was a very important part of the Notre Dame team last year. And the only reason Rod Hurd didn't start is because of how well Adon Schuler played. Rod Hurd made some big-time plays for Notre Dame last year. So I reject the entire premise of the question. I'm selling in that regard. But I do believe, Trev, that Jalen Stroman could be better than those two guys. But I reject the notion that they were lackluster. Rod Hurd alone makes that a faulty premise for me.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I'm selling the lackluster part, and honestly, I'm almost leaning towards hold for better than, just because I haven't watched Jalen Stroman play football in quite some time.
Agreed.
And when he was playing safety at Virginia Tech, he was being asked to do what I believe to be different than what Mike Mickens may ask him to do in this defense. It's a lot of different ingredients going in this, but I sell wholeheartedly lackluster. I mean, Thomas Harper came in as a safety. They just made him a nickel.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he was not lackluster. Not at all. And so I disagree wholeheartedly with that premise. And then I'm going to hold better than, just because I'm not sure what his role is going to be. I wish I could have seen him play in the spring. That would have answered a lot of the questions that I have to see what foundation he has to build off of in fall camp. But I'm holding because I genuinely just don't know.
Buy, sell, hold. My wife booked our son's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. It ain't the same, folks. Don't even have the physical tickets anymore. 9:27 at 11 a.m. BD will save me and allow me to be an IB employee for the day and take me with him to Fayetteville. Help, stakes on me.
After you disrespect Rod Hurd the way you did, you think I'm going to hire you now? I did. Kidding me? Unfortunately, my friend, that's going to be a sell.
That's rough.
I'd love to, but I don't think Notre Dame would be okay with that. So I'm going to have to sell that, buddy, but would love to. That's disappointing. They don't even have physical tickets annianymore. That's the whole. That's part of the fun of it.
Everything's on a card now.
Oh, it's so lame. That's how Dave and Buster's was. We got, when we covered, what bowl game was it? Oh, man. It was recently. It was down in Florida. Oh, man. I can't remember. There was a bowl game we covered for Notre Dame. I think it was – I think it might have been the – was it really that long ago? Hold on. So let me think. So 19 Iowa State game. I had Smitty at that one. 20 – no,
right,
it wasn't.
I went with
the Rose Bowl wasn't there. 21. It wasn't the Fiesta Bowl. It had to be the 2017 Camping World Bowl. I think it was that. Wow, it was a lot longer ago. But one of the perks we got from because we get like different cool things. Like last year, we got really cool Orange Bowl book bags, which you're going to see me rocking at the games this year, Vince. They're freaking sweet.
It's unbelievable. The one you go to, you get something cool. The ones I went to, not so much.
I still have the one from the Fiesta Bowl that's all sweet, or the Cotton Bowl.
I know you do.
I still use that one. It's awesome.
I know you do.
But like some years it's lame, but like I don't ever get upset about it because it's like it's a blessing that they're 100%. Giving us anything. But
100%.
But you do like, yeah, it's kind of lame, but this year they gave us Dave and Buster's, like a card that had Dave and Buster's money on it, which was pretty cool. So I went and used that all up. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
But it sucked because like you don't get. I'm like, where's the cards, or where's the tickets? Have you been to Chuck E. Cheese in a while, Vince? Has it been a minute? Okay.
No.
I've been there. Pizza still good? Because I remember as a kid loving their pizza.
The pizza's fine. I have no problem with the pizza. There's some pizza snobs out there. It's Chuck E. Cheese. No, it's fine. The pizza's just fine.
I loved Chuck E. Cheese. We would go to the one in Fort Wayne when I was a kid. We didn't have one in Lima. We'd go to the Fort Wayne Zoo, and whenever we went to the Fort Wayne Zoo as kids, which I loved it when my parents took me to the Fort Wayne Zoo. I loved going to the zoo when I was a kid. Don't really care about it now, but as a kid, I thought it was awesome. But we would always go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah,
when we were in town, and I loved the pizza Chuck E. Cheese.
It's fine.
The talking bears, the singing bears, those creeped me out a little bit.
They're not there anymore, so don't worry.
They got rid of those too.
All gone. It's a wall now.
Oh my gosh, it's terrible.
It's they have completely ruined Chuck E. Cheese in my personal opinion.
Sounds like it, man. Like all the things that make it unique. But I did love the pizza when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yep. I have no problem with the pizza whatsoever. Yeah, and the games are all the same. It's just the entertainment portion is different now, and it's lackluster, to use a phrase from our buddy there. So yeah, very disappointed. But yeah, I'm also very disappointed for you, Iden, that you are going to be stuck at Chuck E. Cheese at kickoff of the Arkansas game.
Yeah, that's not pleasant.
There's no TVs in there. You're going to have to bring something, man.
Yeah,
bring the phone.
That's not a good time. That's real love right there, though, buddy, that you're still doing that. So
it is. Carson Jackson, buy, sell, hold after losing in the Natty last season. I feel there's a possibility this team gets too focused on what's ahead and what they're chasing, causing them to not stay in the moment enough. The best thing to happen to the 25 Notre Dame team could possibly be them losing in the opener to Miami, as crushing as that may sound. I will never I will never predict a loss being good for a team. I just, like, you can look at it maybe after the fact and say, see how things went and say that was good for the team. And, I know they harken back to the NIU loss and say how that focused them and all that. I will never believe, because I'm such a competitor, I will never believe that, oh no, if we lose this one, that's okay. It's going to refocus us. I will never believe a loss is good. It's how you respond to a loss. I get all of that. I do, but I want to win every game.
I don't know that I'd put it like that, Vince, but we're saying sort of the same thing. I don't know that I'd say a loss is never good. I would say that a loss should never be necessary. But how you handle a loss can be something that's good for you as a team. I think that's the key. But no, I don't. I think it would be a bad sign for Notre Dame if they needed a loss to get their heads right. I would say that's probably a bad thing. Because I think there's this notion that, like, well, if they wouldn't have lost to Northern Illinois, I don't know if they go on the run that they went on. Maybe not. We don't know. We have no clue. Maybe if they, Riley gets them 15 yards closer to the end zone at the end, and Mitch Jeter hits a field goal there, and Notre Dame wins it, that close win might have had the same galvanizing effect. We don't know. We don't know the answer to that, because that's what they went through. I don't think a loss is the thing that you need to get your program focused. Like, I think what should have you focused is, hey, we're trying to go out and win a championship. And that's what our focus is. I don't care about the name on the jersey against us or the logo on the helmet, because this is about us. So I'm going to sell that. I actually appreciate where Carson's coming from on this. I think there's merit to that. I mean, I've pointed this out before. Nick Saban won 7 titles. 5 of them were years where he had a loss in the regular season. So you could say, hey, maybe I don't think those losses galvanized him, though. I think there's just some weeks you don't play your best football. And it's really as simple as that. There was a little bit more to it than the Northern Illinois game, because I think it was evidence of a lack of maturity. Because when Nick Saban lost, it was like the Ole Miss, Johnny Manziel and Texas A&M, Auburn. It wasn't to, like, Vandy. I mean, he got those bad losses out of the way in his first year when he lost to, like, Louisiana Monroe and stuff like that. But no, I don't think it's needed. And so, no, I don't think it could be the best. The best thing that happened to Notre Dame is that they're a mature enough team that they don't need that type of performance to get going, because eventually that's going to rear its ugly head again, in my opinion. So that's why I'm selling. But I do understand and appreciate the premise of what he's getting at.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you also don't need to lose to learn lessons in a game. It could just be underperforming. Can you guys not hear
one
me?
Up, Vince?
Go ahead, Trevor. Trevor was explaining his reasoning behind it.
Yeah. I mean, in pertains to the last question, I don't think that you need to lose to also learn lessons in a game, if that makes sense. You have opponents on Notre Dame's schedule where, if they come out and they get some marquee wins against Miami and Texas A&M to kick off their season, and there's a lack of focus against Purdue, you might not necessarily lose to take away any sort of lessons from that game. I don't think, to your guys' point, a loss is necessary to take anything away. But I'm also selling it because Marcus Freeman this offseason has been very adamant about the emphasis on going 1-0 each week. Man, as long as the team kind of adopts that mindset as well, I think they're going to be in a good spot. Carson, your question is absolutely valid of, kind of getting the tunnel vision and you're looking too far ahead, but you can't make the national championship if you don't take care of business week in and week out. I think that Marcus Freeman has done a good job instilling that culture in South Bend. So I'm just hoping it comes to fruition, but I'm going to sell it, but I definitely get where you're coming from on this one.
Buy, sell, hold from Beefeater. Here we go. Sausage. This is a sausage buy, sell, hold. Very specific, okay? So Italian, hot or sweet, Polish, kielbasa, or German, bratwurst. Have at it, gentlemen.
I mean,
I honestly I'm out on this one. I'm not a big sausage guy.
I'm interested
Period.
to see where we go for the rest of
I'm
these.
more of a breakfast sausage guy.
Okay.
But I don't know that I've ever had a Polish sausage. And I've had a bratwurst. It was okay. It's a long time ago. And Italian sausage is hit or miss. Depends on who makes it. So I'm just kind of selling in general sausage.
I think I'd probably buy bratwurst, hold Italian sausage, and then sell a Polish sausage. I don't think I've ever had a Polish sausage. I might have, but
wasn't memorable.
No,
we weren't like, oh my gosh,
no,
greatest thing I've ever put in my mouth.
Yeah, which is probably why I'm selling it. But I love brats, man. That's one of the reasons why I was holding cookout food on one of the previous submissions. I love brats. So
brats are good. I will say one of my favorite meals is the Polish buffet. With the fried chicken and the noodles and the Polish sausage, which I assume is the kielbasa because it's on the Polish buffet. We had that at our wedding. Like that was our spread at our reception was the Polish buffet because we had Italian for the rehearsal dinner. We had Polish for the wedding because my wife is Polish.
Okay.
And so I'm a big fan of the Polish. So, which is, you can't really go wrong with any of these, to be perfectly honest with you, but I would probably go brat, Polish, Italian, believe it or not. But I'm not throwing any of these off the plate. So I'm a fan of sausage. I will have the sausage. No problem there. Okay, the next one's an interesting one from Beefeater and a buy, sell, hold. It's a canned meat buy, sell, hold. And the options are Spam, Vienna sausages, and corned beef hash.
Ooh, that's an easy one. Buy corned beef hash, hold Spam, sell Vienna sausages.
This is going to sound crazy, but I'll buy Spam, hold Vienna sausages, and sell corned beef hash. And it really goes back to the thing from earlier, Trevor. Any corned beef hash I've ever had has been fatty.
Oh, okay.
It just goes back to that. That's going to be a constant thing for me when it comes to meat.
Sure.
I want to ask you this because for me, like we had Spam growing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have like this soft spot in my heart for Spam because
Same.
we used to eat it when I was a kid because of the way we grew up. You know what I mean? And like that, you had Spam. And
Spam.
That's what I was going to ask you, Brian. Is that why you like Spam? Because it kind of brings back like that child.
A little bit. I just think I don't love the other things on there. Is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
But yeah, I mean, it's like having Spam is like having a fried bologna sandwich.
Right.
It's like I'll eat it. It's good. I enjoy it. I don't like buy it now. I haven't bought Spam as an adult, but
right, me neither.
I also haven't bought Vienna sausages. So very strange. Beefeater and I have very different food tastes. That is very clear.
Oh my God.
What's funny is Angela and him have a lot more in common food wise than I do because Angela loves those different, like she likes bratwurst and Italian sauce. I mean, she's Italian, so obviously she likes Italian sausage. She grew up on that stuff, but yeah.
It's just funny to me. These are just interesting. Okay. And the beat goes on. Beefeater has some salad options. We've got spinach salad.
What is a spinach salad?
It's just
isn't
like
spinach part of a salad?
It's just the dark leaves. Like that's what
you just put some dressing on spinach. Is that pretty much what that is?
To me, it's like a super fancy like salad that you might get at like a wedding that I would just push to my wife. But anyway, spinach salad, egg salad, or chicken salad. Those are very different salads, even though they have the name salad in them.
I'll buy egg salad because I have Angela makes egg salad and does it in a way that I put it on sandwiches.
Okay.
I'll hold chicken salad and sell spinach salad.
Oh yeah, I'm buying chicken salad, holding egg salad, selling spinach salad.
Buy chicken, hold egg, sell spinach, and the gap is not close. Spinach is way down at the bottom. Okay, for a summer dessert. Now, this could get interesting. Here we go. Buy one, sell one, hold one. We've got ice cream, and he's including frozen custard there, popsicles, pie, cake, other. There's 4 things. I don't know how we're supposed to do this, but go ahead.
For me, it just depends on if I get one made right. I would buy pie. So there's 5, so I'm going to buy some, and then so I'll buy 2. Cake would be my second buy if it's done right. And then I'm not talking like birthday cake, but if you ever go to the Ruth's Chris in Mishawaka, if anyone ever goes there, order the Chef Ivan's cake. It's like a chocolate cake with a little bit of espresso mixed into it. I don't like coffee, and I love it. And I can definitely taste espresso. And it's got like a layer of like chocolate icing in between, and it comes with a peanut butter whipped cream. It is the best dessert I've ever had in my life. Like, I'm not joking. But that not all cake is something I love. But like my mom made German chocolate cake when I was a kid, loved it. My grandma made pies. Like when I was a youth pastor, I got a pie from a strawberry cheesecake from Texas Roadhouse donated to it because I also was a server at Texas Roadhouse at the time. And my grandma's pies were going for like double, triple what the New York cheesecake I had from Texas Roadhouse went for. Like, so I grew up with someone who made phenomenal pie, fruit pies, but then also chocolate pie. So I would take those, and then ice cream I'd probably hold, and then I'll sell popsicles because I'm not 12 anymore.
My kids,
if you give me one, I'll eat it, but I'm not like buying popsicles anymore.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
My kids love popsicles, and I could just leave them. That's a huge sell for me. I will look. There are some nasty ice creams because people have gone above and beyond with some of the ice cream flavors out there, but I'm good for some ice cream in a nice waffle cone. Big fan. And then I'm gonna buy pie because you can add ice cream to the pie, and you're just buying all around. So that's all.
Or are you adding pie to the ice cream, Vince? Which is it?
Well, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm 732 pounds, so I will add the ice cream to the pie, but people might, if they look at my plate, they might disagree.
Yeah.
But I love good ice cream in the summertime. I think
our guy Nick is feeling a little upset about the popsicle comment. It's my bad, Nick.
That's good. That's hilarious.
I'm saying I'm not 12. You still like him as an adult. That's fine. But I'm not 12 anymore, so I don't buy popsicles.
And I don't look at cake being a summer dessert. So cake is a year-round thing, and so I'll put a hold on cake.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'll buy pie. When I was growing up, my grandma used to make a rhubarb pie, and it's delicious. And miss that. So buying pie, I'll also buy ice cream. So when I think of a summer dessert, I go ice cream. I'll hold cake.
Quick, I share this with you. My grandma actually had rhubarb growing beside her house. She would actually did your grandma do the same thing?
Sure did.
But she had it. It's rhubarb from her garden.
Mm-hmm.
Now I didn't like rhubarb. It was a little too bitter for me, but like everyone else I know loved it. But I always thought it was cool that it was like she would grow it from home. So yeah, I'm with you. Keep going.
No, it's fantastic. I love strawberry rhubarb pie is so good.
Yeah, that's what my dad used to make because we had rhubarb in the backyard.
Oh, I love it. Oh, it's fantastic. Best birthday gift I ever had. My grandma passed away in April of 21. My birthday's in May. And I came home one time and my Lauren was making my grandma's like strawberry rhubarb pie, like walked in the door, smelled it immediately. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Best gift.
Did you shed a little bit of a tear? I probably would have.
Sure did.
Yeah.
You would have caught me on my couch bawling my eyes out eating some strawberry rhubarb pie.
I love that story.
It was awesome.
You got a good woman. It's like my grandma passed away in November, as you guys remember.
Yeah.
And I mean, she was as the only 2 women more dear to me is my wife and my mother. And it's debatable of the order with 3 of them. And for my birthday in May, she made this potato and eggs breakfast that I'm a very good cook and I can't replicate it. I just can't. Well, Angela videoed my grandma making that for me a few years ago when she was visiting, and she made it on my birthday, and it was just like my grandma's.
That's
and like
awesome.
I shed a tear as I was, and because it's just you think of you miss her and you think of all that and you think of the memories, the times watching her making it for you when you were a kid. So I feel you on that one, buddy.
Yeah, man, for
Feel you
sure
on that one.
And then I'm with you guys. I'm selling popsicles. I think they're overrated. I think they're fine. Definitely a kid's thing. Sorry.
I will say this: the only time a popsicle ever sounds good is if I'm like out doing yard work and I'm just freaking hot.
That's fair.
But then I usually get like a warm glass or cold glass of ice, something. But yeah, I mean, that'd be one. But yeah.
Oh, here we go. Annoying coaches, buy, sell, hold. Narduzzi, Day, Riley, BK, Freeze, or Signetti.
Buy.
I'm amazed Franklin's not on that list.
Yeah.
Ooh, good call. Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no order to this. They're all annoying in their own.
They're all buys. They're all buys.
Way.
They're all buys. I'm going executive privilege. We can buy them all.
Good.
We don't have to sell any of them.
All right, back to some football, I believe. Lucky Duck 512. Buy, sell, hold. Bryce Young, Josh Burnham, and Bubakar Traore combine for 20+ sacks.
I'll buy.
I'll buy. For me.
That's an average of 7 each guy gets you to 21.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Buy, sell, hold. Logan Thomas has 10+ hits plus sacks on the quarterback this year.
I'll sell that. I think I just need to see it from him first.
I'm very bullish on Logan Thomas. I think he's going to.
I mean, he could have 9 hits plus sacks in the quarterback and have a heck of a year.
Oh, for sure.
Rotation guy. I mean, 5 sacks, 4 hits in the quarterback. That's pretty good. I think Notre Dame's leader last year was like 15. So yeah, I'll go a little less.
Buy, sell, hold. A defensive end has a 3-sack game this year.
Yeah, I'm a buy that. I think so. I think a defensive end will emerge and have like a Riley Mills versus Florida State type of game.
Yeah, I can see that.
Another one from Lucky Duck. One of Dan Lanning, James Franklin, or Brian Kelly will start next season under a bit of a warm seat. Kelly because his team misses the playoff. Lanning for getting blown out in the first round, and Franklin for not making the Final Four and losing Keymon's spell during the season.
But Dan Lanning, James Franklin, Brian, I'll buy that. I'll buy that because I think it's possible that one of them underachieves. And I'm kind of leaning more to Brian Kelly. I think if James Franklin's team makes the playoffs and they get beat in the first round, he's not on the hot seat. Nor should he be. I can say that I don't like James Franklin, but I can also say you make the playoffs 2 years in a row, and 1 year you get to the Final Four and lose in a great game to a really good Notre Dame team, and the next year, you're the 7 seed and you get upset by a really good 10 seed. Yeah, it's disappointing, but that doesn't mean you should lose your job over it. I mean, the last 3 years they've gone 11-2, 10-3, 13-3. The only thing that should keep put James Franklin on the hot seat is they go like 6-6 or 7-5.
Yeah,
like 8-4 is a very disappointing season, but it's not like, okay, dude, you're on the hot seat now. That should, maybe it gets them a bit of a warm seat, but I just don't see Penn State having that kind of step back season. I just don't. I think their talent's too good to. Do I think there's a case they could go 9-3? That's the floor for me for Penn State. It's 9-3. That'd be a disappointing season, but I don't think that gets them on the warm seat.
And it's Penn State too.
Following it up with another season like that would get him on the warm seat. He'd have to go like 6-6, 7-5, in my opinion, to be on the warm seat. I think if Brian Kelly doesn't make the playoffs again, he's going to be on the warm seat. Because here's why: those portal additions were not free.
Yeah,
and when you spend that kind of money, you want some return on your investment, right? That's just a fact. And if you keep giving your money to your broker and he keeps losing that money, eventually you're going to stop giving him that money and you're going to get a new broker, right? Yeah. Am I wrong here? So that's essentially how this has got to be looked at now. Is I'm investing money in your program and I expect a return on my investment.
Yep.
I think he's the most. If Dan Lanning, he'd have to, like Franklin, he'd have to have like a disaster of a season to be on the warm seat.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Per my predictions for this season, I'm kind of leaning towards selling this as a whole. I know it's only one of, but I don't have LSU missing the playoffs. I know Dan Lanning getting blown out in the first round of the playoffs is what a lot of people are going to remember from last season, but first season in the Big Ten, he goes undefeated, wins the conference, and he ran into the hottest team in the playoffs, which was also a team that they faced earlier in the year. And beating a team in a rematch is really hard as it is. And then when it's the eventual national champions, it kind of adds to it. I'm not saying that's an excuse for getting absolutely worked.
That's the problem, Trev, and that they just didn't seem ready to play.
Yeah.
But again, if you get this team to the playoff every year and you're a top 2 to 3 seed and you keep getting beat in the first or second round, your question is that guy a great coach or not?
Yeah.
But I don't think that puts you on the hot seat at a place that's never won a title.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at Notre Dame it does, but not at Oregon. Yeah, so no, I don't see that one.
Yeah.
I think Brian Kelly's the one that I'd go with there. So I'll buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I do think James Franklin could miss Keemon Spell, but losing Keemon Spell is not going to have an impact on whether he's in the hot seat or not.
Nah.
Because, that's just one in the long line of recruiting misses, to be honest. So
I get that, but they've also had some recruiting. They do return arguably the best backfield in the country, so they've had some recruiting wins at running back.
In the last couple of months.
Yeah. I get saying I'm just busting your chops. And I think their running back class in 2024 was really good as well with Quentin Martin and Corey Smith. It's a black eye to lose an in-state kid, but I don't think it's something that puts them on the hot seat or the warm
Agreed.
seat.
I agree with that completely. Losing one kid doesn't put you on the hot seat, warm seat, any seat. Lucky Duck, buy one, sell one, hold one. Ryan Day will never win another title. Oregon will never win a title. Or James Franklin wins multiple titles.
What title of how many backyard brawls they win? Is that what we're giving them title for? No, that's the easiest sell.
Yeah.
The easiest sell by far.
Yeah.
The other two are a little bit tougher for me. I would say I'll probably buy that Ryan Day never wins another title, and I'll hold that Oregon never wins a title. I think both of those are that's a tough one. Could Ryan Day win another title? Guys, if he could have won one with last year's team, he can win another one. He's been in the playoffs in 19, in 20, in 22, and 24. So he's been in the playoffs 4 last 6 years. When you get there as often as they do, you have more opportunities to get hot one year like they did last year and win it all. And you also have the benefit of if there is a team that's a kryptonite for you, like a Georgia, let's say, and I don't think Georgia's kryptonite for Ohio State. I'm just making the point. They beat Ohio State already in the playoffs. Well, now in a 12-team playoff, somebody else knocks them off for you. And then you play a team that you match up better against, like a Notre Dame, for example, looking at last year. So I think if Ryan Day doesn't win another title, it's probably because he leaves for the NFL. I could see that. That's why I'm buying that one. Not he's going to be at Ohio State for 12 more years and he's not going to win one ever. Yeah. I could see Ryan Day in a couple of years bolting for the NFL. Oregon, hold that one because I think of those two things, I think it's more likely that Ryan Day leaves. I think Oregon can win a title. They're going to be talented enough. Again, they're going to be talented enough where they get hot and win.
Yes. Yep. Because they're never going to have, they're always going to have an influx of money. They're always going to be able to get kids in there. They're always going to have talent. It's because can he get them all moving in the right direction and get hot at the right time? Oregon's on the precipice, in my opinion. I don't see James Franklin winning multiple titles. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys.
James Franklin wins a title, I still would have sold the heck out of that one, easily. Okay, I like Penn State this year, but if you can't get past the semis with last year's team against a completely depleted Notre Dame team, you're just not that guy. Look, it's not often that you and I us three will sit here and say something that I also think the chat's going to agree with, that the two most talented players in the field last year in the game in the Orange Bowl were by far Penn State kids. I love Notre Dame's roster. They don't have anybody in the same league as Abdul Carter.
No one did. That guy was unbelievable. What he did with one arm, in that game alone was impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no. And Notre Dame spotted you 10. You still lost without Riley Mills and Boubacar and Benjamin Morrison and all that. You lost Anthony Knapp in the second quarter. You lost Rocco in the second quarter, who was already playing on one leg. Jeremiah Love was beat up like crazy. You weren't getting the best of Jeremiah Love. And even sophomore Jeremiah Love is still not the dominant player that Abdul Carter was or Tyler Warren was. Like, you guys don't understand how dominant Tyler Warren was last year. Jeremiah Love had a heck of a year. It wasn't even close to as dominant of a season as what Tyler Warren had. It wasn't even close. And they still lost. And I don't think he's ever going to have a team that's more talented than one he had last year.
And the Bears still passed on Tyler Warren, so makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I'm touching that one.
Yeah. Don't Grizz, buy, sell, hold. The non-freshman linebackers will be noticeably dominant this year, since the experience they gained last year will multiply their high skill and athleticism.
Yeah, that's a very easy buy. I agree with that completely. We've talked a lot ad nauseum about how great of a season we believe Drake Bowen's going to have. And then you got three guys that are all going to, if it wasn't for Kingston's injury last year against Army, which held him out against, the rest of the game, then the USC game, and then the IU game. I mean, we're talking about three linebackers in Osbury, Viliama-Asa, and Snead, who would have played probably identical looking snaps. And they're all a year older, more experienced. Yeah, definite buy.
Buy, sell, hold. Consequently, Madden Faremo will be relegated to primarily spot reserve duty and blowouts, a symptom of the roster depth.
Sell, because I think Madden's going to be a guy that's on special teams a ton at the very least, and I think that's a pretty important role. So I'll sell that, because I think he'll do more than just. I think it wouldn't shock me if Madden Faremo's a starter on special teams this year. Wouldn't shock me. He's not a 5-year player, so there's no point in redshirting him. So if he's good enough to start for you on special teams, you play him. That's what they did with Drake Bowen the year before. Drake Bowen played very little on defense last year, outside of blowouts. But he was a starter on special teams the entire year. So I'd see Madden doing a very similar thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll sell it for that reason. Defensively, I can see his role being that. Yeah. But I think we need to look at special teams as a more important, prominent role than we make it out to be sometimes.
Absolutely.
Agreed. All right. Sunlit Night 1964. Buy, sell, hold. The biggest non-football play for Notre Dame for the last 30 years was Enrique Ogunbowale's Easter basket to win the 2018 national championship on Easter Sunday.
All right, I'm going to say something here, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this. I don't think that was even her biggest shot of the Final Four.
You're going to say the one against UConn?
I think that one was even bigger. Like, it just the moment, the situation, just kind of everything that went into it. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just that maybe it's because it was UConn. And, maybe I don't focus as much on the game against Mississippi State, but I just think that UConn one was just that was the bigger one for me. I mean, UConn had come back. They just tied the game up on the other end with a 3, and she goes down there and hits that shot. And I just think the difficulty of that shot was also like, just I don't know. Call me crazy. But I think the first one's always the easiest one. The second one's kind of like, well, I've already done this. So I don't know. You guys agree or disagree with that? Because that's gonna kind of answer that.
The difficulty, if I'm remembering the shots correctly, the difficulty of the national championship game where she's fading out of bounds.
Yeah, that was a tough shot.
That was a legit tough shot, and they should have lost that game. Like the look on Muffin McGraw's face when that shot went up was like, well, okay, well that wasn't what I drew up. And when it went down and the look of shock and all of those different things, I'll buy it. I will buy this because it was for the national championship. I realize they got the UConn thing off their back.
I'll also say this. I think the shot against Mississippi State was kind of more of a prayer than it was a great shot. She just threw it up.
Oh, well, yeah, 100%.
Like that. that's yeah. So I'm okay if anybody wants to take anything else because like you win a championship with that one, but I just kind of look at it like I think you won the championship when you beat UConn. I think they played terrible against Mississippi State and still won. I think it's because of how they play against UConn. But yeah, it's just kind of I've always just kind of had that. I think it's probably an unpopular opinion, but I just felt the UConn one was better. That was more of like a, you did the fake, you stepped back, you popped into that girl's face. I just think that was a more clutch moment than a prayer fade away towards the baseline.
Beautiful.
You are right. The degree of difficulty was tougher with that shot, Vince. I just feel that was like that was less about skill and more about kind of luck. So yeah, that's
a fun one to think about though.
Yeah,
because that was a fun team.
And you don't get the second one if you don't hit the first one.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, that's my take. They're both huge, but she hit them both in the same Final Four. That's the crazy thing about that.
It's back-to-back games. Like
that's insane.
No bigger moments.
I don't know if we'll ever see that.
No,
like, I can't think of another time where a player, men or women's tournament, that hit game winners in back-to-back Final Four games. I don't know that I've ever seen that. I'm sure it's happened before. I've never seen it.
Right. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? You knew Kara Lawson was going to be a good coach. When she hit that one, I forget which game it was, but Kara Lawson immediately, she sits there. You could tell she was amped up. She starts looking at the defense and like starts plotting out like what's going to happen. You're like, okay, that lady has the mindset of a coach. You know what I mean? Like you think about, did you ever see the Larry Bird's reaction when Reggie hit that shot that they thought was going to be a game winner against the Bulls? Or I think it actually was the game winner of one of the games. And they cut to Larry Bird and he's just like chilling because he's already thinking about like, you know what I mean? Like, what's next? That's how I knew Kara Lawson was going to be a pretty good coach. Because, I mean, you could tell she had some emotion going up, but her mind was, I got to focus on what comes next. Where the other guy was like, oh, my God. And he was doing his job as a play-by-play guy. But, yeah, you knew she was going to be a good coach when she did that. What a great run that was. Angela was upstairs sleeping. I was in the basement watching that game. And I think I woke her up. I was going nuts.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, I'll say bye to either one of those two shots, but I'll take the bye. Like I don't know, like when Notre Dame won the title against Duke a couple years ago in lacrosse, if there was like a play that I could point to and be like, oh, that was a similar play. I just don't remember it going down like that.
It didn't.
Same with the championship the next year. So I think one of those two shots is certainly the biggest one for me
for sure.
From double bogey, buy, sell, hold, Jaden Greathouse will double his career touchdowns this season.
Yeah, he has 9.
No,
he's not going to get 18.
It's an easy sell for me.
Yeah,
you don't think he'll get 9 touchdowns?
Double his career touchdowns this year. I'm taking it as like 18.
Oh no, I took that as like he comes into this year with 9 and then ends this year with 18.
If that's the case, then I'll buy that.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
I took that as he's going to double his career number. So he's got 9. He'll double that this year, meaning he'll get 18. In that scenario, that's a sell. In your scenario, I'll buy that. Because I think I've said that either him or Malachi will lead the team in touchdown catches.
Yeah.
So if Trevor's reading is correct, I will buy that.
Cool.
Vince, your reaction made you think that you read it the same way that I did.
Yeah, I was like, he's not getting 18 touchdowns in 1 year. Like, that'd be great. It's not going to happen.
It's fun, but it ain't happening.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So I like buying things, so I'm going to go with Trevor's.
No, I'm cool with that. I'm in the same boat
on that one.
But go back. Buy, sell, hold. The group of 5 will adopt their own postseason and playoff in the next 5 years. I think it'll take longer than that.
I'm going to sell it, but I hope that they do.
Yeah.
Bill Bender brought that up in a show that we did last year, and I immediately fell in love with that idea. I was like, I'd watch it.
Me too.
I mean, I'm not going to miss another playoff game for it, but I'm recording it. If they're at the same time, I'm recording that sucker and watching it.
Well, they'd be stupid to have them at the same time, by the way.
Yeah. Make it 4 teams at first, just to, you know what I mean? You don't need 8 teams and, but like last year it'd have been like Boise, like Army, trying to think, that I would watch those games.
Yeah.
Last year you might have had both academies in it, potentially.
Well, I think you got to treat it like Maction, right? You got to have it like on a Wednesday. You got to have it during the week. You know what I
Notre
mean?
Dame played a playoff game on a Wednesday. That's just so lame. But yeah, I agree.
They're gonna avoid the NFL like the plague, because
Well,
they will lose
don't
that
get me
battle.
started on the NFL. The NFL is some greedy bastards. And
They are. I don't disagree
stop
with that.
playing games on Christmas. That's for the NBA, and I don't even like the NBA, but that's an NBA thing. That's their tradition. And stop having games on Saturdays in the post, like late in the season. Like that's college football day. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There we go.
From Double Bogey again. Buy one, sell one, hold one of these classic football comedies. The Replacements, Little Giants, Necessary Roughness.
This is a pretty easy one for me. Necessary
Really?
Roughness, without a doubt, is my favorite.
It's so good.
Like football comedy.
So
It's
good.
not even close. I will hold Little Giants because I thought that was cute. It was a fun, entertaining movie.
Yep.
I'm selling The Replacements for two reasons. One is I just don't think it was a great movie. There's a couple funny scenes, but it was a little lame as well. And then also them filming that thing at Raven Stadium and that field still being jacked up when we played on it that year against Frostburg State still pisses me off. Because we got both teams like slipping all over the field, and it was a mess. But yeah, I just didn't love The Replacements. It was fine. It was fine. It was entertaining, but it didn't.
You don't buy Keanu Reeves as a professional quarterback?
No, that's not the one I had necessarily a big problem with. It was more
Okay.
so just the overall premise of the movie was just
Gotcha.
lame and just it was just kind of. I didn't enjoy it personally.
Look, Necessary Roughness is again by far the best one of these because you've got Scott Bakula. Just the cast of characters.
Sinbad,
is unbelievable.
Jason Bateman. The dude that played Alvin Mack in the program as a wide receiver. Don't throw it to stone hands.
That's right.
You got Robert Loggia. You just got.
Cindy
there's
Crawford. Did you mention Cindy Crawford?
No, she wasn't in it. It was Kathy Ireland.
Kathy Ireland, excuse me.
Who is better looking than Cindy Crawford.
Agreed.
With all due respect. Rob Schneider was in it. Hector Elizondo was in it. There's just some great. Fred Thompson was in it. It's a pretty awesome cast. So yeah, and then the prison scene was great with like Evander Holyfield. I think I bit somebody's finger. I don't feel so good, coach. I think I ate a finger. It was just great. All right, Dillos, let's get it on.
It's fantastic. Everything about it is fantastic.
It was not Larry David. Is it Larry Miller? I think is the guy's name. Larry Miller, who was the dean, the butthead dean.
Oh, and he's like the dean in a bunch of movies, by the way. Like that.
Yeah.
He got pegged.
It's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So yeah, I'll take Necessary Roughness by a mile.
Yeah. And look, I like Little Giants, Icebox and like all the it was a cool movie. It's but very much a kid's movie. You know what I mean? And so you have to understand what the target demographic is.
Yeah.
Replacements and Necessary Roughness were not kids movies. They were teenager movies and above. But Little Giants was a kids movie.
Yeah.
So,
but it's still entertaining.
Absolutely.
Even now, look back and you can remember clips from it and the annexation of Puerto Rico and stuff.
Oh,
like
100.
That. Yeah. It's more so that I just don't like the replacements. That's really what it comes down to.
That's fair.
So that's yeah. Were there any other football comedies? I also didn't enjoy
Waterboy.
I'd put that one on there and I would hold that one. That would be my hold.
The Longest Yard.
I didn't like The Longest Yard. I didn't enjoy that. I thought there's some funny scenes, but it was just a little weird. Dude pulling cheeseburgers out of his jock strap. Like, okay, this is just too much.
Not a fan of Cheeseburger Eddie, huh?
No, not a big fan. No. Were there any other? Somebody said Wildcats. I don't remember Wildcats. I was with Goldie Hawn. I don't remember watching that. I don't know that it was a comedy.
Varsity Blues, I wouldn't consider a comedy either.
No, I wouldn't consider that. Yeah, very much.
Big fan of Varsity Blues, but it's not.
What was the one with Anthony Michael Hall when we were kids, Vince, where he was Johnny? He was a big time quarterback recruit. That was a comedy. I just don't remember that one a whole lot, but I can't remember the name of it.
It's hard for me to imagine Anthony Michael Hall being a big-time quarterback recruit.
High school recruit, yeah. I just don't remember it.
Okay.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. Johnny Be Good. Somebody said in the chat. I think that was it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't remember it enough to put it on the list. But none of them are. There's no supplanting Necessary Roughness. The football comedy Better Than Necessary Roughness is yet to be made.
Agreed.
Is yet to be made.
Agreed. A great question. Another, but these three classic Vietnam War movies. We've got Full Metal Jacket, Apocalypse Now, and Platoon.
I will buy Full Metal Jacket. I think the whole thing with Private, what was his name?
Pyle.
Private Pyle alone makes that memorable.
Yep.
Apocalypse Now I'll hold. That was a weird movie. I think it's a cult classic that I don't get being a cult classic. I just didn't. But there's enough memorable aspects. There's enough great acting. Like Robert Duvall and his scenes just I thought was tremendous. Marlon Brando was like classic overacting in that movie. But it's still better in Platoon. I did not like Platoon. And
Full Metal Jacket by leaps and bounds over the other two. And I will be honest with you. I say that knowing that every time I watch Full Metal Jacket, I stop it when they head to Vietnam. Like I watch it up until that point. It's like two completely separate movies, Brian. Like two completely separate movies. A first act and a second act. And the first act is good enough that I don't even watch the second act, and it's still better than the other two. Like that's where I'm at.
Somebody said We Were Soldiers. That should absolutely be on here. And if it was, it'd be a buy. Have you ever seen We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson?
Oh, you know what? A long time
Exceptional
ago.
movie.
But yes.
Exceptional movie. Yeah. Good Morning Vietnam might still be my favorite Vietnam War movie. It's at least second. Yeah. Yeah. I would have taken different classic Vietnam movies. So I didn't know Act of Valor. I didn't know that. I don't think that's a Vietnam movie, is it? That's the one they had like real Navy SEALs doing it. I didn't think that was a Vietnam movie.
I don't think it was either.
We Were Soldiers was excellent. Very excellent. Based on a true story, I believe, as well. So, absolutely based on a true story. So, yes, very, very well done. I don't know if it would be considered classic because it was made more recently, not during that 80s time of let's everyone make a Vietnam movie. But I'll take that. Somebody said Forrest Gump. I had a Vietnam scenes in it, but I don't know if I'd call that a Vietnam movie. So,
although I'm a big fan of Forrest Gump, I mean, I will say that.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, Notre Dame 2164. Buy, sell, hold. Adon Schuler will emerge as the top safety in the nation and prove that he was, without a doubt, underrated coming out of high school by the recruiting services.
Trev, can we buy the second part and sell the first part?
Yep. That's exactly where I was going with that.
I'll buy he was underrated, but he's not going to be better than Caleb Downs unless he's injured.
No. And I love Adon Schuler, but that is exactly where my train of thought was.
Maybe give him another year. What if that said
I don't think Adon Schuler will ever be better than Caleb Downs. And that's because I think Caleb Downs is a truly elite, like comes along once every 8, 9, 10 years type of player.
Fair enough.
Like Xavier Watts was better than Caleb Downs last year. If Xavier Watts is coming back for a 6th year, I don't know that I would be feeling comfortable saying he was going to be better than Caleb Downs this year. Does that make sense? Is that fair? But they're also in the same grade.
Right.
So,
that's tough.
Yeah.
I think Adon has a chance to be one of the 5 best safeties in college football.
Yeah.
Barring injury, there is no debate for number 1. There's only debate for number 2. Like I saw, for example, Trev, there was the Nagurski watch list. They only had 2 Notre Dame guys on there. I'm sorry. If you're going to have KJ Bolden on there, you need to have Adon Schuler on there.
Facts.
But he's not better than Caleb Downs.
All right, we got one from Walk On Carry On 78 buy sell hold. According to Sports Reference, 2018 LSU, they were 10-3, 6th in the AP final poll, had 32 future NFL players on it, with 22 as underclass players. Given the youth and talent at Notre Dame, buy sell hold a national championship for 25, 26, 27. Is this as in a national championship in all three
Yeah,
of them?
so over the
years?
next 3 years, buy
Okay.
one, sell one, hold one is kind of how I view it. Like,
Okay.
what of those 3
Okay.
years do you think is Notre Dame's best chance to win it is kind of how I'm taking it.
Got you. Okay.
I'll give you my answer, Trev, while you think about yours, because for me, it's a bit of a cop-out, but it's also true. I'm buying 25, holding 26, and selling 27 because that's the order in which I know the most and least about those teams. Like, I can understand the 26. Well, CJ is going to be your older and you're going to have a bunch of linemen coming back. But I'm like, yeah, but you're also going to have to, what's your running back room going to look like? Do you lose Love and Price? Who's going to be your stud receivers when Malachi leaves? Who's going to be your tight end? You're going to lose Gabriel Rubio and Jason Onye and a bunch of your defensive linemen. There's still a lot of questions to me about next year's team. I think the secondary is going to be freaking crazy good. I think the linebacker room is going to be crazy good. But I don't know, like, if Drake Bowen has like a butt kiss award-winning season, is he going to even be on the team next year?
Exactly.
Like, there's just so many things I don't know about who's going to transfer out. There's just so many things that I don't know about that team. And then, of course, I know even little less about 2027. I can't even tell you. I can't even guarantee that I know who the quarterback's going to be in 2027. Because you can't guarantee that CJ Carr won't be so good in the next couple of years that he's going to stay till 2027. I hope he does. I think he will, but I don't know. So I know what this 25 team is going to be. And I know what everybody else's teams are going to be in 2025. Meaning I know who's on the team. Not that I've got it all figured out and I know all the answers.
Teams change so much.
I know who's on the teams.
Yeah.
And that's a great point, Vince. And it's even harder to project what a team will look like next year. So I'll buy 25, hold 26, sell 27.
Yeah, you and I have the same order. I was going back and forth with, I understand the projection of the recruits that they have coming in 26 and kind of 27, but I know the most about this 25 team, so I'm with you.
My initial thought was buy 26, hold 25, and sell 27, but you convinced me. I
think because I'll bet you I know where you're coming from, Vince, and that is you're going to have a quarterback with a year.
It's everything you said. You could potentially have your entire offensive line back. You could have your quarterback with a year under his belt,
back outside of Jalen Stroman. Devontae, I get all that,
all of those things, and the problem is, if this was 10 years ago, I would feel very confident about buying next year as opposed to you know what I mean. But like you said, things change so much year to year now that there are so many question marks going into next year, not only just at Notre Dame, but like throughout college football. Teams change over their rosters, and like you don't know who's going to be who this time next year, and that's the hardest part of this whole thing. I'll stick with my buy 26 and hold 25 and sell 27. Just looking at Notre Dame specifically, but you're right, we don't know anything about the rest of college football and what it's going to look like a year from now, and that's the hardest part.
I don't know why you're doing that, Vince, because I was told you don't ever disagree with me. So I just assumed you were going to go with what I said, since that's what I said.
You were very convincing, but I'm sticking to my guns.
I like it.
All right, from JGY Town, buy, sell, hold. Emil Wagner becomes a first-round draft pick, third-round draft pick, fifth-round draft pick.
What say you, Trevor? Got to buy one, sell one, hold one is how I'm taking that. Are we all correct? Are you seeing that same way? Okay.
I'm going to buy third round, hold first round, sell fifth round. I don't think he falls all the way to the fifth round. I think there's going to be some weight concerns for him as far as the first round goes, just at the next level, not talking about his performance at college. So, yeah, I would probably go third, first, fifth in that order.
Agree.
That was my thought too. Yep. This time I'm agreeing with Trevor, not Brian, by the way. Buy, sell, hold. Notre Dame will recruit its highest.
You're always following somebody, Vince.
Just a follower. I can't help it. Buy, sell, hold. Notre Dame recruit its highest rated player at quarterback, offensive line, or secondary. I assume for the
27 class. So like their highest ranked player will be a quarterback or a lineman or a secondary guy.
I mean, right now they got the number 2 quarterback in the country.
But he's number 52 overall.
Yeah.
I'll buy offensive lineman because if we're talking about nationally, I think an offensive lineman has been their number 1 ranked recruit in like 3 straight years. This is going to be the first year that it's not. So I think the most likely. So I'll buy offensive line, hold quarterback, sell secondary.
Secondary for Notre Dame, they get high ranked guys. Don't get me wrong, and we've talked about them, and we get excited about them, and all of those different things. But I would say more often than not, they bring in those 3-star secondary guys, and they turn them into 5 stars. You know what I mean?
And the 4 stars they get that are top 100 guys are just not like top 10 national guys. Like,
and that like
Christian Gray was a top 100 guy, but he wasn't a top 10 guy. Joey O'Brien's a top 100 guy, but he's not a top 10 guy. He's not Caleb Downs. He's not Patrick Peterson, aka Patrick Johnson. He's not that kind of guy. They haven't done that yet, and nor do they necessarily shoot for that guy. But I'm just based off history, that's the most likely thing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, this one's an interesting one. Buy, sell, hold. Best 80s cartoon that didn't become a live action movie. Thundercats, Voltron, Mask.
All right, I'm not going to make Trevor try to answer this one.
Yeah, because he's not cartoons.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Trevor. I mean, Vince, I don't remember Mask.
Oh, that was one of my favorites.
I don't remember that one. I loved Voltron. I'll buy Voltron. Thundercats is a close hold. Thundercats was awesome. It just wasn't on very long. I honestly don't remember watching Mask.
Mask was one of my favorites. I had the action figures and the little base that they had that was like built into a mountain. And what's that?
Was it kind of like G.I. Joe?
It was similar. It was kind of a mix between G.I. Joe and like Transformers, because they had like these things that would transform, like the side of a mountain would transform into like their base, and like, you know, they would have cars and stuff that would transform and stuff like that. So I was a big fan of Mask. So they're my buy. I didn't watch the other two, so I'm selling the other two.
You didn't watch Voltron?
Nope.
Were you raised in America? Or
Mask and G.I. Joe were my go-tos.
Okay.
And Transformers.
Voltron was awesome.
Those are my three.
Transformers was my favorite as a kid. Loved G.I. Joe. Loved Thundercats. Loved He-Man. He-Man was probably my second favorite.
I had all the He-Man toys.
I had Castle Grayskull. I had all those.
I had Castle Grayskull.
I still remember when I got Castle Grayskull for Christmas.
Yep.
I still remember, because like they had opened it up and put it together, and it was like,
yes,
it was like, oh,
I wish I still had all of my He-Man stuff. I bet you I could make a pretty penny for those right now. But
Transformers,
yeah,
like that's what I wish I still had. Those are even cooler to play with. Like cartoon wise, Transformers was at the top. Toys wise, it was still at the top. He-Man was close second for both.
Yeah,
I didn't like the G.I. Joe toys. They were really small and
really small. And the Mask ones were actually smaller than G.I. Joe, which is very interesting. I don't know why that happened, but whatever.
Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal said Care Bears are bust.
I had a Care Bear back in the day. I'm not gonna lie. I had one.
If you come up with My Little Pony next, we're going to have a problem.
I did not have a My Little Pony.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
My sister did, but I did.
Strawberry Shortcake or any of those other 80s girls shows, you know.
Yeah. No.
Trevor's just like, what are we talking
what
about?
What are they talking about?
I mean, I know what strawberry shortcake and all that stuff is.
Not a food, Trev. It was a show from back in the day. I'm kidding.
It was.
I'm kidding.
It was. Leg warmers and all. All right.
I never watched Cabbage Patch Kids, but I had a Cabbage Patch Kid.
Yes, I had one as well.
I don't remember watching the show, though.
I think it's still at my mom's house, actually. I think. I don't know. All right. J. Lynn G. The most mentally tough quarterback is Carson Beck, Marcel Reed, or CJ Carr / Kenny Minchie.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really know how to answer this one. I want to include CJ Carr and Kenny Minchie in some way, but mentally tough as in what? We haven't seen them play. I mean, I got to sell them because I don't know what their resolve is going to be. I can speculate that it's going to be.
That's tough.
I can speculate that they're going to be mentally tough in games this year. I think my buy is going to be Carson Beck. Multiple times last year, Georgia went down, and a lot of it was because of Carson Beck, but I think he showed some mental toughness to bring him back against Bama and Georgia Tech, and then I guess hold Marcel Reed, I suppose. But, yeah, I think the answer is going to be completely different at the end of the year once we see how this plays out, but I think it's kind of an incomplete because I don't know what to say about CJ or Kenny.
I'm going to buy Marcel Reed. I'm going to hold the Notre Dame quarterbacks. I'm going to sell Carson Beck.
Ooh. Okay. I have no opinion. I just don't have an opinion on their mental toughness. I just don't know enough about any of the four, to be honest with you. Okay, BK's last brain cell. Still love that name. All right, buy, sell, hold. Malachi Fields will have better receiving numbers than Isaiah Horton, in part due to Ryan Williams being a clear number one at Bama.
I'll buy that. I think he's just going to be better than Isaiah Horton and have better numbers just because. But I think he'll be Notre Dame's number one where Isaiah Horton won't be. I think Isaiah Horton's their number 3 receiver. He's just a great complement to those other two guys. And when I say number 3 receiver, I'm more referring to production. I think he's going to be a very good player for them, but I'll buy that.
Yeah, I will too. Malachi Fields was better than him last year. And now he's going to a better passing
in the
offense.
Same league.
Yeah.
In the same league, yeah.
So buy for me as well.
Buy, sell, hold. Jeremiah Love will have receiving numbers comparable, if not better than Singleton, and his pass game involvement will be more impactful.
That's going to be, I mean, that's a high bar because Nicholas Singleton had some very impactful pass game moments last year for them, including, didn't he have a big long pass play in the Big Ten championship game?
Yes.
I thought he did in that game as well. 41 catches, 375 yards, 5 touchdowns. I could definitely see Jeremiah Love surpassing the yards and touchdowns. So I'll buy that.
With you.
I'll buy that.
Another one from the last brain cell, buy, sell, hold. Ashton Craig will end the season on the Outland Trophy watch list. Well, they don't have watch lists at the end of the season, but I do think Ashton Craig will be in the conversation for, well, the Remington is the best center, right?
Yeah.
So
now, you can still win the Outland as a center, but
it
normally
harder.
doesn't go to
If they would have put Remington in here instead of Outland, I would buy it. I don't think he's going to be, because Outland's the entire offensive line, right?
Outland is entire offensive line and then interior guys on defense.
Yeah, that's just too
many
tackles. That's just too many, and it's too much of a hill to climb. So I'm going to sell it, even though
I don't know that he'll be Notre Dame's best offensive lineman.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Ashton Craig fan. I think he'll be in the conversation for the Remington, but I don't think he'll be in conversation for the Outland.
Agree.
Buy, sell, hold. Notre Dame's running back 2 and 3 will both have a minimum of 6 touchdowns.
I'm going to buy this, Trev, because I mean, obviously one of those guys already showed it. Shadarn had 7 last year.
Yep.
When I think RB3, I'm thinking RB3 from a ball carrier standpoint, and I think that's going to be Keidron Young, and I think he's going to be a guy that gets a lot of touches in the red zone. So I'm going to buy that.
Yep, I'm with you.
It's an easy buy. Agreed. Yeah. Be jammin'. 41, buy, sell, hold. It is more likely 3 teams from last year's Final Four, Notre Dame, Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, make it to this year's Final Four than 3 new teams make it this year.
Ooh.
Yes, I will buy that.
So it's more likely that 3 of those make it. Okay, Trev, what do you think on that?
Ooh. I'm thinking back to what my playoff prediction was.
So I'm 3 new, and when we say 3 new teams make it, we are talking about the Final Four, right?
Yes. Yep.
Not make the playoff period. Okay, that's what I thought. Just wanted to be sure.
I'm going to buy this. Yeah, I think it's more likely that 3 of those will make it to the Final Four instead of 3 new.
Okay. What say you, Vince?
I'm buying it. I think that all 4 of these teams have an opportunity to get there. And I mean, I think all 4 of these teams are going to be ranked in the top 5 coming into the going into the season, or very close to the top 5. And so if, things play out the way they should, I think that there's more likely that 3 of these teams will be in than 3 new teams not listed will be in.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because let me see. I'm going to see if I can pull up my playoff bracket. I got to find it. But It's a good one. I don't have Penn State in the semis again, and I think it'll be tough for Ohio State to get there. So I'm going to sell that. I just think there's a couple teams this year that I really like, that I think, here's my playoff bracket. I have 2 of those 4 teams in my playoff this year, in my semifinal.
So you're right in the middle. You're a hold.
Yeah. So I'm going to sell.
You're gonna
I think
sell.
I think it's because if you look at my Elite 8, like, yeah, the way that I have it, I just think some of these teams are going to have to play each other in the first 2 rounds.
Gotcha.
That's why.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll sell. I'll sell just because I think there is so much parity in college football. I just don't know that you could argue those are the 4 best teams coming back in college football, but I just don't know. Like, I don't know that the 4 best teams of college football made the semifinals last year, because I think one of the 4 best teams of college football last year had to play another of the 4 best teams of college football last year in the quarterfinals. I think you could argue that the 4 best teams of college football last year played in the quarterfinals against each other: Ohio State, Oregon, Notre Dame, Georgia. So that's part of it too, is the way that the bracket shakes out. So, yeah, I'm going to sell. I just think we'll see more turnover, but I don't do it with great conviction, because I think I could see also all 4 of those teams being in the semifinals again. I could see that. It's a world in which that happens again.
Absolutely.
I just think the odds of it, are a little challenging when you consider just the way the bracket's made could impact that, where they have to play each other. Like I said, like last year, what are your guys' thoughts on that statement that I made? That the 4 best teams in college football last year, you could argue, and you say Texas, but Texas got beat by Georgia twice. You got beat at home and on. It's not like you beat them it's not like Texas got beat by Georgia in Athens and then in Atlanta. I'm like, all right, that's kind of advantage Georgia both times. Georgia beat them more convincingly in Athens in Austin than they did in Georgia when they played in Atlanta, in the state of Georgia, in the championship game. And Georgia's quarterback gets hurt first half, and they still beat Texas in the second half while trailing. They were losing. It's not like they held on to a lead when Carson Beck went down. They were losing, and your backup quarterback led them to a win. So I don't know how I could argue that Texas is better than Georgia. And I don't know who else I'd put in that top 4 other than those 4 teams. I've said last year, I don't think Penn State was a really good team last year. They were not one of the 4 best teams in college football. That's what I argued every week. They should not have been ranked ahead of Notre Dame. They should, I never thought that they should have been ranked as high as they were. So that's the point, is the matchups sometimes make it to where the 4 best teams don't even have a chance to make the semifinals because of the way the bracket falls out. It's like years where you could argue that, some years when I've had some questions about the NCAA tournament seeding, and you're like, I think the 2 best teams are in the same bracket, because I think this 2 seed should have been a 1 seed, and now they're in the tournament. They're in the same bracket with another top team. That happens. So it only adds to the difficulty of getting those 4 best teams.
Yeah.
If we were to assume that those were even the 4 best teams. So that's where I'm at.
Buy, sell, hold. Watching Notre Dame play. A, at home. B, in the stadium. C, in a Notre Dame bar.
I'm gonna buy at home, hold in the stadium, sell in a Notre Dame bar. Reason being, I think in the stadium, I only like being at Notre Dame. Well, I love being in Notre Dame Stadium any given time. But as far as like watching the actual game, I only like it when it's a high octane matchup, because you can feel the intensity of the atmosphere. But if I was given the choice of watching Notre Dame versus Central Michigan at home or in the stadium, I'd watch it at home. Plus, at home, I can see a lot more. I can react the way that I want to at home. At least in the stadium, I can yell. And then at a Notre Dame bar, it's not because I don't want to go to a bar. I think it's just I don't I don't like watching the game with other people that don't watch football the way that I do.
Mm-hmm.
That gets frustrating for me. Like, I get really irritated going to a bar when I have other people come up to me. It's like, why didn't they tackle that guy? And it's like, I don't know. I guess they just didn't want to.
Can we turn it on to something else? Yeah.
Yep. So that's my order.
I have the same order, Trev. If I'm just a fan, like, I actually love being in the press box of Notre Dame Stadium. We actually have a pretty great view up there. Not gonna lie.
Yep.
I mean, I complain about things with Notre Dame, but like the press box at Notre Dame, the view is as good as any stadium that I'm in outside of a couple others. And the couple others that are better, there's nothing Notre Dame could do to be that good. Like Virginia, it's a low outdoor stadium where you're above the bleachers, but you're low enough where you see things a little better than Notre Dame Stadium. And it's a really cool environment. Like Georgia, it's an outdoor stadium. We're right there in the middle of the field. Like, there's nothing Notre Dame could not possibly. They'd have to build a new stadium to have that. For the traditional press box setting, it's as good of a view as I've been in. I will give them credit for that. It absolutely is. And, being able to kind of go outside and go on the deck if you want to kind of experience, okay, what's the atmosphere like? I think that's pretty awesome. I don't know of any other stadium I've been in where I'm able to do that in the press box. So I actually really like Notre Dame's press box from being able to see the field and see where it is. We're kind of close to the midfield. I wish they would have made the glass without the poles. That'd be my only thing. Like, could you have gotten a different type of thing to hold the glass together? I don't know. But yeah, I think that part would be like, in my role now, it's the stadium is better. Home second. If I was a fan, I'm where Trevor is. Because you guys know how finicky I am. I have to wear noise canceling headphones in the press box because I can't deal with people typing and phones going off. Like I have issues that, like, it literally just bothers me and I can't focus. Being at home, I can control my environment a lot more.
Yep.
And with someone who has my personality things that I have to deal with, it's just kind of how I was born. It just makes it easier to do. My wife knows not to type during football games against with Notre Dame. In our job, however, I love being in the press box. It's great. If I wasn't allowed to go to games, I wouldn't go to a lot of games. What I'd probably do, Trev, is I'd be like you. I'd go to a couple of the big ones. I would have absolutely been at the Indiana game this year.
Oh, yeah.
This past year. Oh, flat out. I would have been at that one. I would have probably picked the Florida State night game. I probably would have gone to that. I mean, those are great games to be at. I don't know that I would have bought a ticket to go watch them play Northern Illinois or Stanford or Miami of Ohio. It's just because I prefer all the other parts of being at home.
I am 1,000% spoiled. So when I read this, I immediately thought of being in the stadium as being in the press box because it's what I've done for the last 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Like, that's normal. And I will pick that over everything anytime. And, that's why I wanted to go to the playoff games this year, because I want to be there in person in the stadium to feel the electricity and all of that. Now, Brian and I had a great conversation a couple of weeks ago about how I'm not going to be in the press box this year because I'm going to go watch Dylan play. I'm going to watch the games on TV. I'm totally fine watching games on TV at home because I can control the environment, because I can get some more work done, because there's certain things that I am able to do that I can't do when I'm on the road, right? And so I have no problem watching it at home, but I'm going to watch it at home by myself. I'm not like, my son is okay, that kind of a thing. But like, I'm watching the game by myself. I'm shutting the door. I'm going to the basement and I'm watching the game. I need to control that environment. My kids don't watch football. They're annoying. I don't want them around while I'm watching football. So that they can go off and do something else while dad is working. That's what I always tell them. Dad's working.
Yeah. Angela used to be not good to watch a game with, but now she's great. She's perfect. She cheers louder than I do now.
There you go. So like, and I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? But like, I will never, unless the situation is absolutely dire and it's the only way to watch a game, watch a Notre Dame game in a bar. It's never going to happen. I will probably commit felonious assault on somebody for some reason.
Look
saying
at you
something.
taking my phrases. I love it.
Totally stole that from you. I can't do it. I can't be. It's why I don't sit in the stands with parents at any kind of sporting event because I can't handle the comments.
I also can't. I don't deal well with ignorance.
Yes,
I'd have
correct.
to put on headphones in the stadium because the moron yelling behind me things are like, I'd be like, dude, shut it. How many times, Vince, did you have to stop me from turning around to say something to somebody when we were at the Purdue game in 2021?
Yep, when we went because of all the situation, we were in the stadium watching the game, and it's like, it's just stop.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
And
it's why when I go to any high school event, I will volunteer.
Did you ever notice the dumbest people in the stadium are the ones that like to shout out their opinions of what's happening on the football field more? The smart former football coach down the way is just keeping his mouth shut and cheering.
Yep.
But it's the numbnuts behind me who doesn't even know what he's talking about, that just wants to let everyone in the world know that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Those are always the best.
Yep. That's why I volunteer to keep the book at basketball games. I'll run the start-finish line at track meets. Like, I can't be in the stands, man. I can't do it.
What would be awesome, though, what would be awesome, and I wish there's a way to do this someday, what would be really cool, though, is if we were able to find a way to where, like, all IB people, like, bought seats in, like, this part of the stadium, and it was, like, all the people that we knew in that area. That'd be pretty awesome, because then it'd be a different brand of people.
100%.
So, yeah, that would be pretty awesome.
Yes. So, long story short, it's BAC for me. So, buy, sell, hold. CJ Carr will have a better career at Notre Dame than Bryce Underwood at Michigan.
I'll buy that. And I think a big part of it is this isn't even about, do I think CJ's better than him? I think CJ's going to be in a better situation than him.
Yep. Agreed. There's a lot of pressure on Underwood.
And they're just not. Now, they are doing a pretty good job of recruiting in the 26 class. They got a couple receivers I really like. They got a Zion Robinson kid is a player I like. They got another receiver from Texas. I forget his first name, but I think his last name's Johnson. So they're doing a pretty good job there. If they can get Savion Hitter to commit to them in August, that'd be big. Their O-line class is solid, but just right now I feel more comfortable with the situation that CJ's going into than the one Bryce is going to have.
And the sustain, because what
worries that plays a role in who has a better career.
100%. And what worries me about Bryce is he going to get beaten down in year one, and then that affects the rest of his career?
Yeah.
To be honest with, like, that's great. They got 26 kids coming in. He still has to get through 25. And I'm not saying Michigan is going to be like 3-9 or whatever, but he's going to take his lumps this year because they're putting a lot of pressure on a true freshman quarterback to come in here and change the narrative at Michigan. That's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. And how is he going to be able to handle that? I don't know Bryce Underwood from a mental standpoint, but how's he going to be able to handle successes and failures and all of those things?
I mean, I think he led them to 1 or 2 state titles. I mean, but that's different than, college football.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm also more confident that CJ Carr will be at Notre Dame for the duration of his career. I can't say the same about Bryce Underwood at Michigan. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he stays at Michigan for 3 to 4 years. I don't know that.
Good. So. Oh, got another one. Sean Patrick 50, buy, sell, hold. By midseason, Irish fans will be wishing that Riley Leonard was still an active quarterback on the roster and guiding the 25 team due to passing game woes.
No, sell. No, Irish fans will be wishing that Riley Leonard was still an active QB on the roster. No, sell.
I was like on the fence about it until the last 4 words or 5 words due to passing game woes.
Meaning like, well, if they're not going to throw the ball, at least they had a runner.
Right. I just don't think they're going to have passing game woes that's going to make you want what you had with Riley Leonard. Like, I can understand people wanting Riley Leonard's leadership and wanting his, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, ability to get a first down almost guaranteed. Like, I get that, right? Because it takes a lot of pressure off of being a fan, when they in that scenario. I get that. And I probably will think that at some point. Man, I wish they had Riley Leonard right now. But I will not wish they had Riley Leonard because the pass game woes are happening in 25. I don't see that. So it's a sell for me.
Yeah, no, I get that completely. Because it says like the fans, I don't think they're going to be because of passing game woes, but fan bases typically like to go to extremes. I do think there will be a game where there will be a loud portion of the fan base that will be wanting Riley Leonard back. Because it's I mean, we've already started to see it this offseason. You know, before Riley Leonard, or while we were watching Riley Leonard at Notre Dame, it was, you know, why don't we ever throw on third down? Why doesn't Notre Dame ever try to look at tight ends on third and short? They know what's coming. And now this offseason, it's been, there's no way to get a third and short or convert a touchdown in the red zone if you don't have a mobile quarterback in Riley Leonard.
It is funny how, that's a good point. That's a great point.
It's one or the other. It's like, hey guys, they have Kedron Young. Like, you remember they didn't have issues picking up third and short or scoring in the red zone when they had Audric Estime.
That's a good point. I mean, people wanted Steve Angeli over Riley Leonard, so it wouldn't shock me if some people think they wish they saw Riley Leonard
fair
over that guys they're gonna have now.
For those reasons, I'm kind of leaning towards buying. And I won't like it. I don't think there's going to be passing game woes, but there will be a game where that gets really amplified.
There will be a game where there's passing game woes, and then that'll be when the people overreact to it. And it'll be in the first half of the season. I'm still selling it because there's always going to be stupid people. There just are.
Yeah.
For sure.
You just deal with it.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to be prominent.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think what you'll more likely see is those people will be talking about Steve Angeli, not Riley Leonard. See what I'm saying? Like,
yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I'm not ready for that. All right. The history expert on passing downs, the defensive line by the end of the season will be defensive ends Josh Burnham, Boubacar Traore, and defensive tackles Cole Mullins and Bryce Young.
So I don't think they're going to move 2 defensive ends to the interior just for a third down package.
No, you're going to see. You could see Josh Burnham go inside and have Jalen Sneed or Kingston or somebody like that there, but I don't think that's a terrible take because I could see Cole Mullins doing something like that. I think you're correct. I don't think you're going to see 4 ends on the field in that situation. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I just think they're going to want to get a linebacker on the field in those passing situations.
I feel like they go 3 down before they go that and have another linebacker or something else on the field.
That we know how efficient of a pass rusher Donnie Heinisch and Jared Dawson are too. So they've got to be in there in some sort of mix.
Yeah, Donovan Heinisch is definitely one. Yeah. Yep.
Reeses Christ. Buy, sell, hold. No more than 7 offensive linemen will make a start this year.
Man, I'm a hope by that.
Yeah, that's a hope buy for sure. After last year, that's an absolute hope buy. Yep.
God, yes. I hope it's no more than 5.
Literally.
Well, I mean,
maybe 6 if Jags comes back and is good to go. But even then, like what we talked about for the bold prediction show, I said that the starting lineup against Miami will be the same as the postseason. I hope that Sullivan Absher performs it, or whoever steps in at right guard plays at such a high level that, you know, the coaching staff has a tough decision on their hands when Charles Jagusah is ready to come back and play. It's like, okay, do we shake up the chemistry that this offensive line has for somebody that hasn't been able to stay healthy, unfortunately? So I hope that's the situation they're in, but at the most 6 because of that. It's because of performance or going with ceiling, not because people keep getting hurt. Good Lord, I hope it's not because of that.
Like, here's where I could see 7. And only one injury happens. I could see the 5 we start the season with. Jagusah comes back. He's 6. And then some injury happens inside and you move Knapp inside and Will Black steps in starting lineup or something like that. Or maybe the guy that starts at right guard doesn't play well or somebody outplays him later and they put a guy and then Jags comes back. If it's something like that, I could live with 7.
Sure.
But it can't be any more than that. It can't be any more than that.
Yep. Buy, sell, hold.
Through that again, man.
No, I don't want to go through that.
No.
I don't want to go through any. Well, look, kids are going to get hurt. That's a guarantee. It's just to the extent that they all got hurt last year. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like the hits just keep on coming, man. That's rough. That's rough.
I don't want to go through that again.
Buy, sell, hold. Indiana will have 4 losses in the regular season.
So I think they'll be better than that. I think they'll be. I think they're 9-3, 10-2 type of team. That's where I think they're at.
Agreed.
This is also a hope buy for me. Just not. No. Look. I'm looking at their schedule. I think Illinois is a toss-up.
Mm-hmm.
I think Oregon out in Eugene, that could be a loss. I think that again, it's a hope, but I think playing Michigan State could be a toss-up, but I would lean toward IU. And then they play Penn State at Penn State. I think that could be a loss. And, what's Wisconsin going to look like? So
not good.
That's fair. And you got Iowa at Iowa. Yeah. So
I think the Iowa game's going to be tough. They got at Oregon, Illinois,
they got
at
tough
Penn
schedule.
State. Yeah, I could see that. I could
see 4 losses. Again, I don't wish.
I just don't see them losing to Illinois and Iowa.
Okay.
So then it'd have to be like at Maryland, at Purdue, or a home game against Wisconsin, UCLA, or Michigan State. I'm not rooting for them to be better than 8-4 because I'm completely off of Kurt Signetti. Like, okay, I'm done with you, dude. Like, you have clowned yourself one too many times.
Correct.
But I also my feelings towards you aren't going to determine my prediction for your team.
Mm-hmm.
And nor just because I dislike you doesn't mean that I don't recognize you're a heck of a freaking football coach. And you're a bad interview, but you're a heck of a football coach. And that's kind of how I feel like Kirk Signetti. Like, can we just keep the microphones away from him and just judge him by what he does as a football coach? Because when he's just coaching football, he's pretty darn good. Stick a mic in his face and he wants to be,
He thinks he works for the WWE like that.
Yeah. It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Exactly.
It's like, dude, just go coach football, man. That's when you're in your element. Put a mic, Google me. It's like, just, dude, shut your pie hole. We dominate. We dominate top 25 teams.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, he's going to have an opportunity this year to play some top 25 teams.
Yes, he will. We'll see if he dominates.
We'll see how that works out for him.
See. We know he's going to be in his bag against Kennesaw State, though.
Yes, he will.
And
baby. Indiana State has no chance.
No.
None.
No chance.
Old Dominion probably doesn't have much of a chance either, just FYI. So they should be 3-0 to start off the season. Should be. We'll see. See how it goes. Buy, sell, hold. Michigan will lose to Ohio State for the first time in however many days the annoying fans tell me about daily. I mean, I feel like the last 3 years in a row we've said that Michigan is going to lose to Ohio State, and Ohio State lets me down every time.
I think they're going to lose it, and yeah.
I'm going to sell it because it defies all logic. Like, that's what I like to pride myself on, breaking down like matchup based and what means what. And Ohio State won the national championship last year with that roster and still found a way to lose to Michigan at home.
Unbelievable.
I can't.
I get it.
Until shown otherwise. I'm not saying it's impossible, but
I'm the opposite. I'm going to keep predicting Ohio State because I don't want to be I don't want to be wrong the time that they do it.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? It's like I'm just going to keep riding this horse.
Gosh.
Oh man.
And every metric over the last few years has been Ohio State should win this game. Every one.
Oh yeah. The 22 game the 23 game I'll disagree with you on that one.
Okay.
I think that Michigan team was really good. And I don't know that we give them enough credit for how good they were because of the cheating scandal. And because it does rightfully diminish their accomplishment.
Sure.
That was a really good and talented football team. And it's kind of what ticks me off about the cheating is like, dude, this was a great team. You're a great head coach. Like, you don't need this stuff.
Right.
You might have needed it in 21 and maybe even 22, but you didn't need it in 23.
Yeah, it tainted what they were doing.
It did. 100% it did.
Yeah.
But I felt that Michigan team was every bit as talented as Ohio State. Like, I do think.
Yeah.
That. Now, I thought absolutely. Ohio State was still going to win, but just because I made the mistake of, well, there's no way Ohio State's going to let Michigan talk all that trash about them and not show up and win now, right? And they just like when I listen to Derek Moore talk about like Ohio State's championship doesn't mean anything because they didn't beat us, and my first thought is, oh, Ohio State's not going to like that. And then I'm like, hold on a second, that's not nearly as bad as what they said after they beat them the first time, and they punked them a whole calendar year. They punked Ohio State in the press, and Ohio State showed up the next year and acted like they didn't want to be there.
Yeah, it was
especially in the second half.
Last year's game was the icing on the cake for me.
Yeah.
Of okay, like now there's no more the cheating scandal has been out in the open. You lost all the players from your championship roster. Ohio State's humming. They had national championship expectations to start the year. They get them at home. I was like, okay, this is the year, and it might get ugly. I remember talking about it on one of the Thursday shows where we were going through predictions. I stayed on with you and Bill Bender to talk about it. I was like, guys, this could be like ugly. Like ugly. And it was, but not the way that I thought it was going to be. And so now I just have no logical reasoning as to why Ohio State will beat Michigan this year, because I got none. And Michigan will be a better team, I think, than what they were last year. So I have no idea at this point. Would it shock me at all if Ohio State wins?
This would have been the year you're like, we're going to take all our frustrations out from –
yes.
You know, they're down. We're playing for a Big Ten title. We've got to win this. There was something on the line. You had to win that game to get to the Big Ten title game, and and that's what you showed more energy after the game when the flag planting thing than you did during the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like if y'all would have brought that same kind of heat during the game, you wouldn't have lost.
Yeah.
So I get where you guys are coming from, but at the end of the day, I still have to pick the better team to win. And I think
I get that completely.
Ohio State's going to be the better team. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to be the better team that Saturday. But barring things changing dramatically, if I'm picking today, I'm picking Ohio State to win.
Yeah.
And, but I did that last year, and I did that in 22, and I did that 21. It's a 4 in a row now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the senior class that graduated last year at Ohio State never beat Michigan.
Threw for less than 50 yards, right? Didn't we establish that the other day? Threw for less than 50 yards, wasn't it? Let me look that up real quick. It was something just ridiculously stupid. You're like, that had no business even being in that game, much less winning it. See, Michigan passing offense, game log. Yeah, I'm sorry. They passed for 62 yards. We were way off.
Put some respect on their name, Brian.
Put some respect on their pass offense. They were way over 50 yards. They had 62. Like, okay, whatever. Yeah. Oh, Lord have mercy.
D-Troll Hunter, buy, sell, hold after a freshman year shoulder injury in season. A sports hernia repair this winter, a tired arm this spring that kept him out, and starting fall camp with a calf strain. That was DJ Lagway in a walking boot. We can officially call him injury prone.
Oh, easy buy. Easy buy. Like, yes.
It was so disheartening to see that report of him in the boot too, because I think Florida could be a sleeper team this year in the SEC, not to win it, but just to make some noise, be better than what they were last year. And it's just seeing him in the boot is just, I have zero confidence that he's going to make it through a full season healthy now, which is rough.
Yeah.
Myself hold. Also, Billy Napier needs to start polishing up that resume because his backup quarterback situation is awful.
Yeah, I know they got like Harrison Bailey out of the transfer portal, right? Who else do they have? I'm looking up their roster now to see who else they have at quarterback. Aiden Warner, no. Transfer from Yale, no. Clay Millen, transfer from Colorado State, no. And then a redshirt freshman, Aaron Williams, who I think I remember being a pretty good player. Yeah, their backup quarterback situation is pretty bad. Which in his defense, it's hard to recruit a top quarterback when you're DJ Lagway is clearly your future for the next couple of years.
Yeah,
but you got to think they could get somebody a little bit better than that. But do they not have a true freshman quarterback? Oh yeah, Tramel Jones. He's pretty talented. They flipped him last year. He's pretty talented, but it's not a great situation. It's not a great situation. I wouldn't call it awful because I really like Tramel Jones, but yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
Buy, sell, hold. The Texas A&M week 3 at home has you more nervous than Miami week 1.
I'll buy that. I mean, because I'm taking nervous to be just like concerned about their ability to win, not that I'm genuinely nervous because I don't get all that like nervous about regular season games as much as I, used to. But I was a little nervous before the playoff games this year, but like not the regular season games. But as far as like which team I'm most concerned about beating, I think I've said this, I'll say it all off season. I think Texas A&M's the tougher matchup. That doesn't mean Notre Dame can't play poorly and lose to Miami. They could, but I think if A&M's the team that if they play their game and Notre Dame plays their game, it's the more competitive game. That's what I think. And I think the level of which Notre Dame doesn't play their game is much greater than if it was the other, Miami. Like they could play not as good against Miami and still win than they could play not as good against A&M and still win. And I don't think the home away matters as much. That says more about A&M's ability to kind of be ready for the moment and all that. But as far as like when they're playing, I think A&M is the tougher matchup.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. I like Texas A&M's roster better than Miami's. We know Notre Dame's history in home openers, different level of an opponent, but Marcus Freeman's still 1-2 in home openers. Now, I also did go and look. Texas A&M is also 1-2 in their first road game of the season, so I guess we'll see what takes the day. But
who was their first road game last year? Because then they win their first road game last year.
Yes.
So they're 1-0 on the road against under Mike Elko, but that was at Florida. It's a little different animal than going to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
But that team still has a lot to prove. I'm predicting Notre Dame to win both games. But
yeah,
between the two, I do think – because I also think I also think Texas A&M is a better head coach.
There it is. That was the only point that you guys hadn't brought up yet that I was going to throw in there at the end. I trust Mike Elko way more. And that alone leads me to believe, or leads me to be more nervous about A&M.
And having coached at Notre Dame, he'll understand what game day is like at Notre Dame.
Yep.
And he'll know the issues that other kids have come into play at Notre Dame, and he'll know, let's get all that stuff out of the way on Friday.
Yep.
Do it the right way and all that. So yeah, I agree. Still think Notre Dame wins, but that's going to be a good game.
But I am more nervous about it. Yeah, absolutely. Buy, sell, hold. You would be more surprised at LSU making the playoffs this year than missing the playoffs based on what you know of the team right now.
Oh, based on what we know right now, I would buy that. I would be more surprised to make the playoffs because of the questions at some key positions like offensive line. So yeah, I'll buy that. I'm not going to be shocked if LSU makes the playoffs. I won't be. I'll be more surprised if they make it than if they don't, but not by a ton. I think they're a fringe playoff team. That's where I think they are. They're a fringe playoff team. And Trev and I don't have them a whole lot different. I think you had them 8th. Trev, I had them like 13th. We both view them. I'm factoring in the worst. I'm factoring in the unknowns where Trev is kind of giving the benefit of the doubt in a couple areas. But we see it the same way. They're a fringe playoff team this year. So I won't be shocked either way. The only thing that will really shock me about LSU is if they're super dominant, like a 1, 2, or 3 seed, or if they're 8-4 again. Like, those extremes would shock me. Them being in at a 7 seed or lower, or being in as a 6 seed or lower, or being the first or second team out, that range is where I see LSU this year. So if they're in as a 6, 7, 8, 9 or lower seed, that won't shock me. I mean, guys, Brian Kelly's been in the top 4 3 times in the last 15 years. This is not going to, Trev's brought it up multiple times. Like, it's not a shocker if Brian Kelly puts it all together that one year and they go and have that year where they get to the playoff. The question is, okay, what then can he do anything with it when he gets there?
Yep.
So like when JD Piquel picks them to win it all, it's like, what in Brian Kelly's history makes you think that LSU is not going to win 1, not 2, not 3, but maybe even 4 big games to get there? Because, hey, and why? No, it's not even maybe 4 big games. You got to win 4 big games to get there. Because if you're getting a top 4 seed, that means you had to play in and win the SEC title game. And what's funny is Insured by Big, our resident LSU fan, said LSU is going 11-1 or 8-4. The irony of that statement and the funniness is those are the two extremes that would shock me. I think they're more 8-10-2, 9-3.
Yep.
And I think a 10-2 LSU team with that schedule is no brainer in the playoff. The only question is, are they hosting or not?
Yeah. Yep.
That's the only question.
Absolutely. Per my prediction for this team, I think I would be more surprised if they don't make the playoffs. But again, I have them making the playoffs as a road team.
Right.
I don't have them hosting. I don't have them getting a bye. So
Well, do you now? That's because remember before when we did our ranking, we were still living under the universe of the automatic buys, automatic bids. But you had them number 8. So you would have them actually hosting now? Because when we did the show, you wouldn't have had them hosting because of the automatic bids. Because remember, they got rid of that. Now it's just straight seating.
I guess I would have to go back through and reevaluate because I made my preseason. I mean, also my preseason top 10 or when we did the top 25 also doesn't dictate where I think people will fall at the end of the year. That was more so going in. Yeah.
Where they should be now. Okay. Makes
yep,
sense.
Yep.
Makes sense.
So I have LSU making the playoffs, but I think they'll be a road team. So per what my, I guess, expectations are for them, it is more, I would be surprised if they didn't, but I wouldn't be like in shock and awe if LSU missed the playoffs. Like that's not something that would, if they were that bubble team, like if something happened to them, like what happened to Miami last year, they were like kind of in it until the very end, and then they don't end up playing for the conference championship. They missed the playoffs. That wouldn't shock me either. But what would shock me, to Brian's point, is if they go 11-1 or 8-4. That would either end of that.
Those two extremes would surprise me.
Yep.
Those would surprise me.
Buy, sell, hold. Each of these teams' chances to have an FSU-like drop-off. Ohio State, Miami, Tennessee.
So we're doing each one. Ohio State, sell as strongly as I could sell anything ever. Ohio State having a drop-off is them going 9-3.
That would be shocking to me, by the way.
9-3?
Yeah, it would. That's a huge drop-off for Ohio State.
They went 10-2 last year.
I know. I just think
it's only a one-game drop-off.
I get it. I'm just saying. I think they're just way too talented for that.
I don't disagree, but they're beating Nebraska late in the fourth quarter away from going 9-3 last year. They won the national title. And I would argue their schedule this year is a little bit more challenging than it was last year. But the point is, Vince, you and I could argue whether they're going to go 9-3 or 10-2 is their floor.
They're not going to have a Florida State.
They're not going, no
chance.
They're not even going Notre Dame drop off
right.
from 16. It'd be a fun debate to have. For the purpose of this question, it's irrelevent because we're arguing 9-3, 10-2 being the Florida's team, which answers the question sell for Ohio State.
Yeah.
So yes,
100%.
Yes. Miami still sell. Tennessee, I would buy. Just because there's a lot there culture wise that could make this team fall apart. That would make me say that's possible. But even then, I mean, let's look up Tennessee's schedule, guys, because this is kind of actually funny. So Tennessee, 2025 football schedule. I don't know it off the top of my head. And so they have Syracuse in the opener. This is why they won't go 2-10. They have Syracuse in the opener. Their conference schedule is Georgia, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Alabama, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Florida, Vandy. It's challenging, but not daunting. Their other 3 non-conference games are East Tennessee State, UAB, and New Mexico State. They're going at least 3-9. And they also get Vandy at home. They get Oklahoma at home, Arkansas at home, Syracuse in Atlanta. Like, worst case scenario, they have a Notre Dame 2016 drop-off. Worst case scenario. Miami, I would be curious to hear Trevor's thoughts on this because I know we view Miami differently. But my guess would be you even see Miami being tough to have that big of a drop-off because they're just too talented for that. The thing that I missed about Florida State last year that I got wrong was not just the culture. They weren't as talented as I thought that they were going to be, just in general.
Yeah.
There were guys there were players coming up that they hadn't developed well. Their talent just wasn't good. It wasn't nearly as good as I thought it was going to be. So I missed that one. Tennessee's the one of those 3 that I could see having a similar talent deficiency at some key spots, combined with bad culture, which also factored in. I just think Miami's too talented, and I just don't see their schedule being such that they have that big of a drop-off. What say you, Trev, on that?
Yeah, no, I get that completely. I'm not high on Miami, but I'm not high relative to a lot of the hype that they're getting. Like I don't think they're going to finish as a top 10 team. I don't have Miami in the playoffs either, but that also doesn't mean that I think that they're going to go 2-10. I just don't think that they're going to be. Look, last year with the number 1 overall NFL draft pick and 1,000-yard running back and all of their host of receivers, they went 10-2.
Right.
There's nothing on their roster right now that shows me that they're going to go 11-1 and make the playoffs and win the ACC.
Yeah.
And so I have them as a drop off. Now, drop off relative to 10-2 and having the number 1 overall draft pick in the NFL. So what is that relative to this season? Is it 9-3? Probably 8-4, somewhere around there. That's where I have them in that range. An FSU level drop off? No, Tennessee is my buy. I think they have, to your point, a lot of cultural issues with that program. I know we talked when Nico left. Hopefully some of those issues went with him and it was galvanized.
But now they're having this issue with Boo Carter.
Now they're having these issues again. And so who's it going to be after Boo Carter? And then also who they got in to replace some of these key people that they did lose. Because that's another thing that doesn't get talked about enough because of the Nico departure, but lost some key pieces on defense. You lose Dylan Sampson, who was an 1,000-yard rusher last season. And the quarterback you brought in, I like Joey Aguilar. I don't know how that's going to translate from App State to the SEC and you're playing at Tennessee. I don't think he's going to be terrible, but we're talking about a kid that had 14 interceptions last year. At App State.
The question with Joey Aguilar is, can he take him back to the playoff or not? Not are they going to go 2-10 with him at quarterback?
Exactly.
Agree, Trev. Yeah, so we're on the same page. But that's the whole thing is you can't predict a team to have that kind of drop off.
No.
Because it's so improbable.
Right.
If you didn't tell me what their overall record was last year, I'm talking Florida State. If you didn't tell me that they went 2-10, but you told me what their issues were, like they just, they kind of quit in some games. They don't play cohesively as a unit. The talent isn't what we thought that it was. I'm still not predicting them to go 2-10.
I'm going like 8-4, 7-5.
Yeah, I would have been in the 7-5.
Schedule was moderately
6-8.
challenging. They had to play Miami. They had to play Florida. They had to play Notre Dame. They had to play some decent teams. Georgia Tech. In going out there, yeah. But I just say, looking at the potential issues, I think the only team that has the potential issues that you mentioned, Trev, is Tennessee.
Yep.
Is there any other team out there, guys, that would fit that better than Tennessee? Like he didn't mention? I think that's kind of a bigger.
Florida State drop off. They were undefeated and then won 3 games.
Yeah, I'm talking like a team that's at the top of their conference, top couple. That could. I just don't see it. Not that bad. And honestly, if it was ever going to happen, it'd probably come from the Big 12.
Yeah. Everything's so even.
Yeah, there's some team like an FSU type drop off is tough, but like a big step back from where they were last year. Potentially. I'm going to be interested to see what SMU does this year without Brashard Smith.
Yeah,
at running back. I don't think they go 2-10, but
But I'd see more of a TCU type of drop off coming from some teams than a Florida State drop off because they went from championship game to 5-7 the next year.
A lot of people are to your point, Brian, about it being in the Big 12. Arizona State did some amazing things last year.
Yeah.
Could they, fall back to the pack a little bit, or are they going to be what some people think they are and be back in the playoff?
They were 3-9 the year before.
Yes, they were. And they were not good at the beginning of the season. Remember, they were holding walk-on tryouts for kickers.
Yeah, they barely beat Texas State and had an ugly one over Mississippi State. Yeah.
And they end up making it to the college football playoff.
Great job by Kenny Dillingham.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely agree with that.
And great culture. That you have to have great culture in your locker room to have that kind of year. No question.
Can they repeat that and win the Big 12 again? That's so we'll see.
Colorado's another team for me that comes to mind.
Oh, that's going to be a fun one to keep an eye on right there, Trevor.
I could see them. I could see them going from 9 wins to not bowl eligible.
I can't wait till Dion misses his first game at Colorado because something's going on with his kid. And he's just not there. He goes.
I will say this, however, so happy to hear that Coach Sanders is healthy, though.
Yes,
after what he's gone through.
Oh, I did.
And I thought
something recent.
He just got cleared that he no longer has bladder cancer, but he had to have his bladder removed.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
And
that.
one of the most self-assured guys, arrogant guys you'll ever meet, nicknamed himself Prime Time, joking about wearing Depends and having a porta potty on the sidelines was actually kind of awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like he brought some humility to it, some
Sure.
humanity to it. And, you know, talking about, hey, guys, get checked out. He, you know, said something like that. Like, that was happy to hear that. Like,
Yeah.
that was good to hear. Because we heard rumblings of a health issue all off season, but we didn't know what it was. Like, this is a big deal. Like, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He's out of the loop on that one. I did not know.
It was
that.
like yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like
Gotcha.
very recently, Vince. Yeah.
Gotcha. Look, here's what I will say. Dion is an absolutely dedicated father and all of those, you know, as a person. I dig a lot of things about Deion Sanders as a person. I don't necessarily dig a lot of things about him as a coach. And two things can be just, you know, true.
I'm very curious to see what kind of coach he is without his children.
That's what I'm saying.
That's my
part of me wonders that he might actually be better. I'll be honest.
We'll see.
Part of me wonders if he's going to be better without his kids.
I just wonder if he's going to be distracted.
That's fair. That is very fair.
You know,
That is very fair.
so, but we'll see.
We have some new ones up.
Okay, let's hit it. Here we go. Buy, sell, hold. LSU's offensive line play had regressed under Brian Kelly, and Jaden Daniels hit a lot of the warts in 22 and 23.
I think that's very fair.
yeah.
I
absolutely.
don't even last year with all the NFL players on it. I did not think LSU's offensive line was solid, but it wasn't great by any stretch. It was not nearly as good as it should have been when you consider that they had the number 4 overall draft pick on their team. Like, not even close to as good. I mean, again, it's PFF, and so I'm always nervous using PFF, but like they had LSU last year, their pass blocking ranked 54th in the country, and their run blocking was ranked, let's see here, were they even let's find LSU. Let me type in Control F LSU. They were 38th in run blocking. So with the number 4 overall pick, so I absolutely believe that LSU has regressed with the offensive line. And can we be honest about something? Let's be real about something. Outside of having Harry Heaston on his offensive line, most of Brian Kelly's offensive lines have been subpar. They were okay when Ed Warner. They were terrible with Jeff Quinn, and they've been pretty mediocre at LSU. He brought in the legend, and then he had good lines. And there you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
But we had one more at the bottom there.
I know. I clicked on the thing.
Okay.
It sent it over. Yeah.
It's all good. Buy, sell, hold. These teams have more unknowns than knowns coming back this season. So buy, sell, hold each: Michigan, Oklahoma, Florida State, and Louisville.
Okay, so we're going to buy each one.
Yeah.
Michigan, I'm going buy.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Oklahoma, I'm going sell. I actually think we know a lot about Oklahoma. We just don't know how they're going to do together.
Can they put it all? Yep.
Yeah.
Can they put it all together?
Yeah. Florida State, buy. A lot of unknowns there. And then Louisville, sell. I don't think Louisville has more unknowns than knowns. I just think Louisville's unknowns are very prominent, like quarterback. But I think we know a lot about Louisville. We know a lot about their receiving core. We know a lot about their running back room. We know a lot of the guys they have coming back in the back 7. Their question marks are D-line and quarterback. And O-line to a degree. But I would say we still know more about Louisville. It's how impactful will their unknowns be.
Yep.
But just from a pure no more or no less, I would say I would sell that. Agree? Disagree, everyone? We're on the same page there?
Yeah, no, that sounds
It's a
good.
good one.
Yep.
It's a good one.
really good one.
So this, Vince, is going to go on to the next page. This is
Okay.
an awesome one.
Gotcha. Okay, here we go. You finally retire. You have an RV, and you can travel around the country to see rivalry games. Each of these would be on your list. The Holy, BYU versus Utah.
It's supposed to be the Holy War. I didn't.
Okay. Gotcha.
He had that on there, and then I was going to try to take some of it off to make it all fit, and I couldn't fit, so then I put it all back, but forgot to put the war part on.
Gotcha.
So that game's
Okay.
known as the Holy War.
So the Holy War, BYU versus Utah at Utah, so specifically where it is. Washington versus Oregon at each venue. Texas versus Texas A&M if it were hosted traditionally on Thanksgiving at either stadium. West Virginia versus Penn State in the backyard brawl at West Virginia. Florida versus Georgia, the world's largest cocktail party. Harvard versus Yale in the game at either location. And lastly, Ole Miss versus Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving at either venue.
Okay, so are we just going to kind of go through these each one, buy some, hold each one? Okay, first of all, this is absolutely on my retirement bucket list. Andrew and I have literally talked about doing this.
That's awesome.
It used to be I wanted to go to a bunch of Major League Baseball parks, spend the whole year doing that. That's a little bit less likely. We've also talked about doing this even before we retire, that we get an RV that we set up like an office, and on it we make like a studio room in it, and we make it like the traveling IB thing.
Wow.
Where so like we go on the road. So when Notre Dame's going to go on the road, we drive to that place and we do shows every day from the RV. Should be freaking awesome. Of course, then we start factoring how much this would cost. We're like, yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah,
but
get rid of the house, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's kind of what we talked about. Like if let's say we end up
just
not able to have kids and stuff like that, then something like that. Yeah. But anyway, that'd be a lot of fun. But let's go with these. So, would the Holy War from BYU Utah at Utah be part of my bucket list? Yes. Washington, Oregon at both places? Yes. Texas A&M versus Texas? Absolutely. Now, I wish, like him, I wish it was on Thanksgiving every year, but it's belief played that weekend at least. That'd still be great. West Virginia, Penn State backyard brawl at West Virginia. I don't have a lot of desire to go to that one. That's really not on my list. It just isn't. That's just not a rivalry game that does a whole lot for me. Florida, Georgia, probably. Just doesn't excite me. Harvard, Yale, zero desire to visit either one of those campuses. To the shock of no one. And then Ole Miss and Mississippi State, I think that'd be cool, either one. I think it'd be cool to go there. Some ones that I would also like to go to. I would love to go to a Florida State game. Either venue. I think it'd be awesome. I'd love to go to Florida State, Miami at Florida State. I don't care about going to the Miami stadium to watch a game because I just don't think that's a great stadium to watch a game. But in Doak, that'd be pretty awesome. Ohio State, Michigan, absolutely on that list. The Iron Bowl is on my list.
Yeah.
Watching USC, UCLA in the Rose Bowl, and it would be one that I might want to have to convince myself that it's okay to go to California for one more day to watch. So we'll stay the night before in Nevada and then get up and drive the next day to go watch that game. But that'd be a pretty cool game to go see, I think. So those are some other ones that I think need to be on that list. And then I would love it if, like, a game that I wish would come back that I would have to go to both places if Nebraska, Colorado start playing each other again. That'd be pretty awesome. And I'd love to go to see Bedlam. I think watching Bedlam would be cool too. And I know that's going away soon as well, I think, correct? But that would be Oklahoma State would be pretty awesome as well.
I'd love to go to a Red River shootout. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a good one in Dallas. Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun to go see. Our other lists are the same. I would love to go see the Iron Bowl. I would, the game Michigan Ohio State would be electric. So definitely those for sure.
Somebody in the chat said the backyard brawl is West Virginia Pitt, not PSU. The opinion is still the same, no matter which one you look at as being the true backyard brawl. I don't care about either one of those games. Another game, I wouldn't mind going to a game. I wouldn't mind going to the Wisconsin, Minnesota game, because that game's like almost always played in the snow. It's outdoors now in both stadiums. That one would want to be kind of cool. And it's not a rivalry game, but I have always wanted to watch a game at Iowa. Yeah, especially now the wave thing. I think that's pretty cool. I'm trying to think of any others. I don't know that there's any others off the top of my head that I can think of.
Andrew Gilmore in the chat said Tennessee, Alabama. I'd like to go see that one too. That'd be cool.
Yeah. that one doesn't do it for me. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I just, it's funny. They've been a rival forever. I never viewed them as a rival till I became an adult and they started talking about it being a rivalry. Like growing up as a kid, the big rival for Tennessee was not Alabama. It was not Vanderbilt. It was Florida. Like they had monster rivalry in the 90s when it was, Spurrier versus Philip Fulmer and all that. Like they had a great rivalry back in the day. And Tennessee, Georgia, I always thought is a bigger rival than Tennessee, Alabama. So I didn't even realize until the last 10 years that was even considered a big rival or big rivalry. So yeah, it's interesting. So that's a good one. Those are good ones, guys.
From Irish Wolfhound, buy, sell, hold. Jeremiah Love will get at least 200 regular season touches in 2025.
So I need to read something that he put on the board that was part of this submission because I just couldn't fit it onto a card. But let me find it here real quick. That submission. Let's see here. So his side note was, since 2000, the fewest number of regular season touches by a running back who finished in the top 5 for the Heisman was 178 in 2004, in 2018, and 2005. That would be Reggie Bush. These numbers do not include kick and punt returns. Based on his history, it seems the 200 touches will require Jeremiah Love to have Reggie Bush efficiency, 8 to 9 yards per touch, to have a shot to win the Heisman in 2025. So I think that it's possible that Jeremiah Love gets to 200 touches this year. That's 16.7 per game. But I think that Jeremiah Love could be a Heisman contender with 175 touches because of what he just said. And, let's say that Jeremiah Love, what was his – do you guys remember what his carries numbers were last year at the end of the regular season?
At the end of the regular season?
Because that's when the Heisman was decided. So he carried the ball 163 times. He had 15, 14. He carried the ball 134 times in the regular season. And then, so let's say he just jumps that to 150. That's it. 150 carries. And he averages, which is something I think is certainly possible, he averages 7.2 yards per carry. That gets him to 1,080 yards. And then, Trev, he does what you talked about. Let's say he has 35, 40 catches for another 500 yards, and he has about 20-plus touchdowns. I think that's possible for him to be a Heisman Trophy contender this year because he'll be dynamic in what he does. The touchdown numbers will be impactful. But, again, it goes back to what we've always said about the Heisman Trophy this year. I just don't know if there's a bunch of high-level, big-name, veteran quarterbacks that are going to dominate the Heisman race this year. That's just what I think. And I think he'll be electric and highlight reel. The thing that'll hurt him to win it is he won't have the return stuff that Reggie had in 04 and 05. Like a big part of the reason Reggie won the Heisman Trophy was some of the big plays he had were returns, including against Notre Dame. He had a punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think he'll get less. I think I'm going to sell it just to I don't know. Something tells me that they're going to dip a little bit into the depth at the running back position, and he's going to end up with less than 200 touches. I don't. You guys are based in fact and everything else.
No, we both said under 200.
Oh, okay.
We both agreed under 200.
Oh,
what we're saying is
over.
No.
Okay.
We don't think he needs to get to 200 to be a Heisman contender.
Agreed. Oh, I agree with that.
Like I went 190 in my 150 carries plus 40 catches.
Got you. Okay.
But I think he'll be so dynamic in those plays that the efficiency part he'll have is what I'm
and he'll have the highlights and he'll have the stuff that he needs. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah. Okay. From bracketed cover 3, buy, sell, hold, DC Chris Ash will be outstanding at finding mismatches against opposing defenses and will prove to be equally as good adapting and implementing schemes designed to stop teams' best personnel.
I'm going to hope by that.
Yep.
Well, of course.
Yeah, hope by in this one. We passed over one, so I want to get back to this one.
Yeah.
No, this is my fault. I skipped too far ahead.
Gotcha. Another one from bracket cover 3. Anthony Knapp's first to second year development as Notre Dame's left tackle is critical for Notre Dame's offense to reach its potential.
So this is another one that, let me look and see that his card here. Was this buy one, sell one, hold one? No, it's just buy, sell, hold. So do we want to go buy one, sell one, hold one, or do we want to do buy, sell, hold for each one? What do you guys want to do?
Let's do buy one, sell one, hold one, like most impactful for Notre Dame's season.
Okay.
All right, cool. So that was A. B is Malachi Fields is the most important transfer for Notre Dame during the offseason. And C, defensive tackle Dawson will be a key player for improving Notre Dame's run defense.
B is the one I'm buying. I think Malachi, because like here's the thing: if Anthony Knapp doesn't develop, they have a lot of other good left tackle options. I don't know that there's another option comparable to Malachi Fields at boundary. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Sure.
Like so Anthony Knapp doesn't make a jump when Charles Jagusah comes back. They just move him to left tackle, or they can just put Will Black in there. Like they can recover if he struggles or gets hurt because of the roster. It's not a knock on it. It's nothing about Anthony Knapp. It's where's the roster. I don't know that there's another Malachi Fields option on the roster for that. And I think Jared Dawson's going to be more impactful in the pass game than he is the run game.
Yeah.
Based on what he did in his career. So I'm going to buy B. I'm going to hold A and sell C.
Same page.
I am buying B, I am holding C, and I am selling A. That's where I'm at.
I dig that one.
That's where I'm at. From Law Dog, I've been fixated on the Miami game related propositions, and your prior sells have made me a touch nervous. So let's try these out. Buy, sell, hold. Notre Dame beats Miami by 7+ points. It's a buy for me.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
Same.
Buy, sell, hold. Notre Dame rushes for 150+ yards.
Buy.
Yeah.
That's a buy for me too. And then buy, sell, hold. Markel Bell is 6'9", 340 pounds. This does not concern you.
Buy. I don't care about his size. I care about his talent and how well he blocks.
Yep.
Agreed all around.
Tosh Baker was 6'8", 320-something. And
Right.
he couldn't start at Notre Dame.
Yep.
But he could flip that thing every time that they won a playoff game like a champ.
Mm-hmm.
He was good at it. Okay. From Law Dog, buy, sell, hold. You're not comfortable making a firm prediction on the Miami game until at least 3 weeks of camp have passed. I'm going to start this one off. I will say that I'm comfortable making a prediction as far as winning and losing. I am uncomfortable making a prediction like specifics to points and like what I think is going to happen, specifically in the game, like that kind of a thing. But I'll tell you what, I'm very comfortable with a lot of aspects of this Notre Dame team without having to see 3 weeks of fall camp. But I'll hold it just because, look, still don't know who the starting quarterback is. There's some other battles that are still up for grabs that I think will be decided 3 weeks into camp. So I'll have some more knowledge. So I'm going to hold it, but I'm still comfortable saying Notre Dame's going to win. Just the details I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah, I think for those reasons, Vince, I'm going to buy this because firm prediction is kind of what is the closing factor for me on this one. I'm comfortable saying I do think Notre Dame is going to beat Miami, but I can't make score predictions. I can't tell you, if X amount of passing yards, X amount of rushing yards, if there's going to be I think there's going to be a turnover, just historically what we saw from Notre Dame's defense last year. I think they're going to get at least one turnover in the game, but that is the most firm prediction that I have because to your point, I just don't we don't know who Notre Dame's starting quarterback is going to be yet.
Right.
And so I think that's also another factor that leads into it.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. How do you feel about this one, Mr. Driscoll?
Guys, I'm still trying to get this thing figured out, StreamYard. So,
okay, got you.
Same thing. I mean, there's a reason we wait to make our season predictions till a week or two before the season starts.
Yep.
Like I would have had a whole different opinion of Florida season a week ago before I saw DJ Lagway showing up with a walking boot.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so but as of today, with what we know today, I'm comfortable making a prediction that Notre Dame's going to win. But
Yep.
I'll sell this. I'm comfortable making a decision, but like now. Well, I'll buy this because I'm comfortable making a prediction now. But a firm prediction that won't change. That's when I think firm prediction. I mean, it's not changing. Like this is where I'm at, and that's where I am.
Buy, sell, hold tattoos. I'm as in Law Dog. I'm getting my first if Notre Dame wins it all this year, and it will certainly be Notre Dame themed.
Personal preference. Everybody teach their own. I don't have any objection to tattoos. My wife has a tattoo. Personally, I'm a hard sell. I have no desire. There's nothing I can guarantee that I'll have on my body now that I'll want there in 10, 20 years. And that was true when I was a kid as well. Just personally sell. I have no. That's just a personal thing. Like I said, my wife has a tattoo, and my sister has a bunch of tattoos. I don't care what people do. Keep them off your face. That's my only request. Keep them off your face. But it's just personally, my personal opinion is I'm not a tattoo guy.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Again, personal preference. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll buy it. I have 4. So.
I know you have the ones on your arm. Where else do you have tattoos?
Yep. I got this one on my arm. Oops, sorry. This one for me and my sisters that goes up to my shoulder. And then I have Alzheimer's awareness symbol on my chest for my grandma who passed away from Alzheimer's.
Very cool.
Those are mine. My rule of thumb is always I want it to be meaningful.
Right.
I've always wanted a Notre Dame tattoo. Now that I have this job, it's a little interesting because I don't know if I want to be going to like press conferences and stuff with just a Notre Dame tattoo.
Just get the IB logo.
Yeah.
Just get it somewhere that nobody can see it. That'd be a little less unprofessional.
Somewhere to cover it up for sure. Yeah. But yeah, tattoos in general I'm buying, but no, it's definitely personal preference for sure.
Domer since birth. Opening day of 2025 Notre Dame Fall Camp. Opening day of the 1991 MLB season. Christmas morning when you were 7 years old. Buy, sell, hold, those 3. It's a very specific Major League Baseball season.
Yeah. Why 1991? Who won the World Series in 1991?
Was that
I guess is he kind of thinking of just maybe the age? You know, like just trying to get back to the age we were in 1991. That's kind of my guess.
Sure. I was.
That's
10,
kind of what he means by that. You know, so like comparing it, Twins beat the Braves.
Okay.
Honest, as a kid, I'm buying Christmas morning.
Oh yeah.
I'm holding start of opening day. I loved opening day, but as a kid, nothing was like Christmas. Just nothing. Kick off the fall camp didn't start becoming a thing for me until I started doing this job.
Yep.
Honestly, because for most of my life, start of fall camp, Notre Dame's start of fall camp wasn't nearly as important as start of my fall camp.
Correct.
Like same for you, Vince. I mean, because you're coaching football. I'm paying attention to what's happening in Notre Dame, but we start camp this week, and I'm more concerned about that.
And there was a very small period of time where I wasn't either a player or a coach in my entire life. So it's like it was always the end of summer as a player, or hey, we got to get into it now as a coach. So I mean, Notre Dame was again always kind of in the periphery, and it was important, but it was not at the forefront. That's for sure. I'm going to make a tweak to this, and I'm just going to say the opening day of Major League Baseball and not put a year to it.
Well, I think his whole point was comparing it when we were kids.
No, I get it. Yeah. I could have cared less about opening day when I was a kid. When I got older, opening day for baseball was much bigger.
That's funny. I'm the opposite. I care less about it now than I did when I was 10.
I care about it now. Now Christmas is always going to be the buy here.
But how many Major League Baseball games have you watched this year, Vince?
Almost every single Cubs game.
Okay, I've watched 0.
Yeah,
that's the whole point. It's like, are you still following the sport or not? I probably would feel the same way you did if I was still following the sport.
Yeah,
but like just for me personally, I don't care about it now.
I get it. So I mean, so for me, and I'm just taking the only reason I'm taking away 1991 is because I just want to make it more personal to me. Like I don't think I cared in 1991 personally. So it's Christmas is a buy. Major League Baseball is the whole.
So opening now is bigger for you than Christmas when you were a child?
No. I'm buying Christmas as a child. That's my buy.
Okay, I thought you just said You just said bye for opening day, so that's where I got confused.
My hold is baseball season. The sell is Notre Dame in this.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm definitely buying Christmas morning when I was 7. Christmas was awesome. It was the bee's knees.
Yep.
I still love Christmas, man. I love holidays. Like, it's definitely a different feel than it is when you were opposed to when you were a kid, but I love Christmas.
Me too.
You know why I love Christmas now? It's one of the few days I can justify taking a day off.
There we go.
Right.
There we go.
Did you guys see the new movie? I'm sorry, I got to interrupt with this one. Did you see the new movie with Sebastian Maniscalco and Robert De Niro?
Yes.
My father or whatever.
Yep.
The scene where he's like, why is July 4th his favorite holiday? It's because the only one who doesn't have to buy a gift.
Yeah. That's a great movie, by the way.
I did not think I was going to like it, but I liked it very much. I watched it with my Italian wife, and she's just dying laughing at things that I didn't quite get.
Yep.
And she had to explain it to me, like, oh, in an Italian family, this is what he means. And I'm like, okay, This is funny. This is hilarious. It was very well done.
And Christmas, to your point, Trev, and hopefully you'll figure this out sooner than later. The excitement level changes from you being excited about being a kid on Christmas morning to you being excited to watch your kids open gifts.
Yeah. I bet.
There's nothing better than seeing your kid be happy. Even though they always want more than you actually give them, they always are happy. And, it's the best part about being a parent. So
sure. Oh, I get that. Yeah. I mean, hopefully soon, but I'm holding opening day for Notre Dame Fall Camp. I know, like, even as a fan, it's not like we could see that much of an insight. It was just the mile marker. It was just like the next big significant thing closer to the start of the season.
Yep.
And I mean, you guys know this about me. I've never been a big MLB guy. So, I mean, year removed, obviously, I'm not going to talk about 91, but I mean, it could be the 2025 opening day for MLB, and I just wouldn't have cared.
You don't have an opinion of when you were -7 or -6? That's weird.
I know, but
-6.
I know. Vince
Yeah.
snorted. I don't know where they got Vince snort during a show.
I don't know where that came from.
Not the joke I would have predicted that I could get Vince to snort on. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
All right. Anyway, buy, sell, hold. 24 Notre Dame football team with 25 Carr as quarterback. 25 Notre Dame team with 24 Leonard at quarterback, or 1988 Notre Dame football team with Brian Van Gorder as defensive coordinator.
I mean, that's an easy sell.
This
is actually kind of easy for me, guys. I have 25 team with 24 Riley Leonard on as my buy.
Yep.
And I have 24 team with 25 CJ Carr as my hold, because I don't know that they had the receivers last year to necessarily be as good with CJ as they were Riley. I don't think they had the offensive line last year that would allow CJ to thrive. I mean, think about what the pass pro was like last year. I don't see CJ thriving as well on that team as I think Riley would thrive on this year's team.
Right.
So that's an easy one for me.
On the same page.
Agreed. Domerson's birth, buy, sell, hold. How the use of the targeting rule, instant replay, and running clock rules have impacted the game to date.
I buy the targeting rule. I think that's been in my opinion, hold the targeting rule. I think that's been a very impactful one, and because it's been done poorly is why I think it's been, but I think nothing has been more impactful than instant replay. And I don't think it's all for good. I think they make it's shocking how many bad mistakes they make in replay.
And
I mean, Notre Dame, just thinking Notre Dame, Armando Allen did not step out of bounds against Michigan in 2009. I'm sorry. And it's been even worse for how it's used for targeting. Yeah. Like how the hit to Torrey Hunter against Texas was not targeting. It blows my mind. And yet you're going to kick Stephon Tuitt out of the 2013 Pitt game. Like, it just blows my mind.
Wow.
Instant replay has been incredibly impactful, and a lot of times not for positive reasons. Like, I still just like, how do you miss that call? Like the spot again, was it 2016 with Michigan and Ohio State? Still to this day, very questionable to me. So I think that's had a huge impact. And the clock rules, I don't think has impacted the game a whole lot. It's impacted the number of plays, but I don't think I don't think it's had the negative impact on the game that I thought it was going to have.
I don't think it's had the impact, period, that I thought it was going to have. Yeah.
No, it's just from a watching standpoint, it's made it more rough because the running time on like TV slots is still the same. It's just now more commercials. Hate it.
Yeah.
Ballpeen Shillelagh giving JD Pickles recent pick for LSU to win the national championship. Buy one, sell one, hold one of the following. LSU misses the playoff, LSU wins one playoff game, or LSU wins 2+ playoff games.
I'm going buy, so hold in that order.
Yeah.
Buy one, sell one, hold one. I don't see them at all. The least likely is winning 2+ playoff games under Brian Kelly. Winning one playoff game, I still think is not overly. I still think the best, based on where I have them ranked, I think the best odds are they missed the playoff. I would assume, Trev, you'd have it flipped. The first two flipped for you because you do have them in the playoffs. So
yeah, I guess given between the two, probably. But I mean, again, spoiler: I have them making the playoffs. I don't having them winning a playoff game. So it's kind of like, what's more, So either or. I guess per my prediction for them, I would hold them missing the playoff. But then, like, I also don't. Yeah.
I gotcha.
I am Tenzin. Buy, sell, hold by the end of the season. This linebacking core will be your new all-time group. Like best linebacker group of all time at Notre Dame?
I'll buy that because of the season I think Notre Dame's going to have.
Ooh, yep. Man. I'll hold it. I'm not as high. I think there's a ton of talent there, but I'll hold it. Insured by Big, assuming like most, Notre Dame goes at least 11-1, 10-2 at worst this season. Notre Dame's record would be the same or better if they had the same schedule as, you can shorten if needed, Alabama, Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, Clemson, LSU.
Oof. You know what's funny is I love this question right now because there's a lot of years that I did not think Notre Dame could have had the same record with some of those schedules as they had. 2012, 2020, for sure. 2018, I think, was a pretty darn good team. But there's a lot of years where I said, I don't think Notre Dame's going to be as good as they were. They benefited from the schedule that they had. I absolutely believe that this team would be every bit as good as they would no matter the schedule they have. Georgia's schedule, LSU schedule. I think this is one of the three best teams in college football.
Yes.
Which means I think if we're assuming they're going 11-1, they would have that same schedule no matter who they play. I think they're that good of a team, potentially. Well, what about the first-year? A lot of teams have a first-year quarterback.
Most.
Yeah. So I think that's how good this team is. Last year's team does not go 11-1 with Georgia's schedule. They don't. Doesn't happen. So I buy all of them. I don't think they have a worse record with anybody else's schedule, in my opinion. That's how good I think this team is.
Can't argue
and
with
it's
that.
been one of the few times I could say that. That's
such a good feeling.
Yeah. Even last year, I'm serious. Like last year's team does not have an 11-1 record with other people's schedule. I can admit that. I can admit that.
Yeah.
Because of all the injuries. Now, if they were healthy all year, it's a different story. But with what the team turned out to be, I think that's true. And that, fellas, is the final question for today's final submission for today's show. I thought that was a great way to end it.
Yeah, it was.
We did have a couple super chats just real quick from Aaron Schmidt. Thank you so much, Aaron. The best crew on YouTube. Appreciate you very, very much, Aaron, and appreciate the super chat very much. And I appreciate the email you sent me in response to the price hike. That really meant a lot. I appreciate that. Alan Watson, buy, so hold, Caddyshack, Stripes, or Scrooge. That's my order, by the way. This is an easy one for me. Scrooge is definitely the sell. Stripes is definitely the buy. Caddyshack's the hold. On some days, I'm in a Caddyshack mood, but overall, I normally like Stripes better. Anybody see it differently?
I would just flip Caddyshack and Stripes, but I'm with you on selling Scrooge.
Yep.
I like this order from Alan. I'm sticking with it.
My dad would be ashamed that I picked Stripes over Caddyshack, but I think Caddyshack is funny. It's just not as funny as I think maybe some other people think it is. But like I said, on some days, And honestly, the days that I'm in the mood for it, it's because I'm in a Rodney Dangerfield mood.
Yeah, no respect.
And then the last one, Drew, then he's got this thing. He's like, yeah, I heard the doctor smacked me, when I was born. He goes, and I heard the nurse got a couple shots in too. It's so freaking funny. Drew Rainey, my guy, with a bites a hold. Thank you, Drew. Football movies, Rudy, The Program, Remember the Titans. Keep up the great work. Honestly, my favorite of those this is gonna get a lot of people mad at me. I love Rudy, but my favorite of those movies is Remember the Titans. And Rudy's my hold. The Program is an easy sell for me. I did not like The Program as much as a lot of other people liked The Program. I just felt they took every negative stereotype. It's like the same reason I don't like Any Given Sunday. You take every negative stereotype about the sport and you put it into one movie and on one team. And I just was like, I just didn't enjoy it. So that's mine. What say you guys?
Yeah, I'm buying Remember the Titans, holding Rudy, selling The Program.
I will always buy Rudy. Always and every time. It doesn't matter. Rudy's going to be my number one. I know every line to that movie. I could do it right now for you, but I will refrain.
I love Rudy.
It'll
guys.
Always be my number one. Remember the Titans is a great movie.
Yeah.
It's a very close second, but Rudy's always going to be my number one. The Program, for me, The Program, I got to be in the mood for it. And I agree with you that they take every negative stereotype possible and they jam it into that movie. There are parts of it that I enjoy.
Yeah.
There are some great lines in that movie. But it's a distant third of these three.
There are some good lines in that movie, especially from Alvin Mack.
Yes, Alvin Mack has some great lines in that movie.
Yeah. And I'm not someone who is the Rudy's overrated or the real Rudy's that. Look, it's a phenomenal movie.
Doesn't matter.
It's a great movie. I just Remember the Titans is just something different for me. Just is.
I get it.
It just is. So I'm with you, Vince. But I there's not a wrong answer here. It's just for me, it just Remember the Titans. And I think also the actual, I don't know, there's just something about that movie, Remember the Titans, that I love.
Gotcha.
So, but they're both wins. That'll do it, fellas. Why don't you go and take us out of here?
All right. Hey, everybody, thanks for hanging with us on a Wednesday. Really appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow because it's the first day of practice, and we got a lot to talk about once we get out of there and go to the press conference and all of those things. But got to make sure you have that notification bell clicked because it might not be 1 o'clock. It might be 1:30. It might be 2 o'clock. I don't know. But we're going to do a show, but you're only going to know if you hit that notification bell. So make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Would really appreciate that. Again, hit that notification bell, share with your family and friends. And if you're on the podcast side, give us, 5-star review. We always like that. It's really helpful to us, and we really appreciate it. It doesn't cost you a dime. And then, of course, if you want the intel going into camp tomorrow, make sure you check out the boards at boards.irishbreakdown.com. All kinds of great stuff over there. It's the best money can buy. I can promise you that. So make sure you check that out. Lots of great intel, and there'll be even more as we move forward through camp and then into the season. We'll be releasing our content plan here really quick, and it's going to be really good. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it will be beneficial to you to be a part of the message board. So with that said, I'm Vince. That's Trevor. That's Brian, and we will talk to you next time on the Irish Breakdown Podcast, everybody.